Oh, my earrings. I have to put my earrings in. Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Miss Drizzle. Miranda, of course. Okay, T, hi. Sorry, I just forgot to put my earrings in. Jubilee, hi, how are you? Learning new adventures. Just going to be the first date. Hi. Oh wait, sorry, I'm giving y'all like Inception right now. Let's do I'll do this for now. Hi, how are you guys doing? Cadence, yay, hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Hello from Oklahoma. Hi Mark, how are you? I'm sure it's really hot in Oklahoma right now too. It's so hot in the southeast right now. It's and of course it's the humidity. I mean, it gets hot here, but the humidity has just been really high too. So it's been pretty miserable the past couple of days. I've just been inside. I've been inside the past couple of days. Not really doing much. It's just we've been trying to do gardening out in the front, but it's not happening. You can do anything for like 2 minutes and it just wears you out. You start sweating. Tornadic, hello from Wisconsin. Hello. How are the storms for you? Were they too bad the other night? I hope everything is okay. I know a lot of wind damage went through the area too. Feels like 107 in Oklahoma. Oh my gosh. I hope you're staying inside today. Hi from Oregon. Hello. Hope you're doing well today. It's humid and 98. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're heat sensitive? Oh, please stay inside today. From Atlanta. Hello, also from Atlanta. Yeah, I think it's like, I haven't even really looked at the SBC or anything. I think it's really hot and fire weather has been pretty bad too. From Atlanta. Hello, also from Atlanta. Yeah, I think it's like, yeah. Way too hot, way too hot. Oh, we can hear your stream through setup. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, let me know if that takes care of it. I've got OBS pulled up here, so if not, we'll just do like a little bit of tweaking. Way too hot, way too hot. You have to mow the lawn. Oh, please be careful. Oh no, sorry guys. Let me know if that takes care of it. Wait a second. I've got OBS pulled up here. Okay, that should take care of it. Sorry. Sorry about that. Hello from Texas. Hello, hello. 92 in Michigan. What? Wow. Yeah, I live in northern central Georgia. I moved here a couple years ago. I moved here for school. I went to Georgia State, and I really like it here. I'm originally from Tennessee, like a really small town in Tennessee, so you can imagine there wasn't much to do there. I came down here for college, and I quite enjoy Metro Atlanta. Pennsylvania. Hello. You've been having some rather southern weather lately. Okay, sorry. I had it pulled up in my YouTube tab and it was going, hello from Germany. Oh my gosh, hello. What time is it there? I hope we're doing well today. Basically today I just want to do a little chit chat, talk about the Plainfield video more in depth, because honestly there was so much to the entire event that I didn't get to. I kid you not, the video was 3 hours long, like uncut was 3 hours long just for me talking, and I always have a problem talking too much, but this one particularly I just had so much I wanted to contribute and just couldn't really do it. I was just in the marginal slight risk, no severe, had some lightning and heavy rain. Okay, good, because I know a lot of the central and eastern parts of the state got pretty bad weather. What's my favorite all-time weather-related joke? I don't know that I even have. I don't know that I know any off the top of my head. I'm sorry, Robert. That's probably disappointing. You can lay one on me though if you'd like. Hi from Iceland, Buffalo, New York. Wow, hello. What time is it in Iceland? Hello in New York. I don't know if y'all are getting severe weather today, but if you are, be safe. We're going to be learning about the 4-state tornado. Oh, are we? Not today. So I've talked about it a little bit in the comments, but I haven't I guess publicly said it in a way. I will be doing the December 10th tornado video my intention is to wait a little bit longer until the dust settles a little bit more. I actually was reading an article the other day of some pending lawsuits with Amazon. I know those can take a long time, especially because the kind of lawsuits that they are, but I want to wait a little bit longer just for any more final information or things that we can talk about. So what I think I'll do is probably talk about the tri-state tornado in the next month. So I'll probably do a preceding tri-state tornado, lay some foundation, talk about that, its significance and relevance, and then go into the quad-state tornado later. So I think that would be a nice way to go about it. Start out with tri-state, and then go to the quad-state tornado. So I did a great job on the video yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Is that a second person from Iceland? Hello, hello, hello. It's scary because of how much people put their trust in the weather service and how they let Plainfield go unwarned. Yeah, we're going to get really into that, Hawkins, here in just a few minutes. But yes, I agree with you. There was a lot of really good points made in the comments as well. That's another one of the reasons why I want to do a live stream, just so we can have an open dialogue about it, because there were some sort of arguments or counterpoints to my main points in the video, and I thought we could just have a good discussion about it because they are good points. So yeah. Okay, that's weird. What's your favorite TV show and movie? Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a huge, I love K-dramas. I actually have an entire Korean channel that I did for a little while. I watch a lot of K-dramas. I just finished Business Proposal. I loved it, but if we're talking about like American TV shows, I'm a big Witcher fan. I love the books, I love the shows, the game. I would say the Witcher series. 9 p.m. in Iceland. Well, good timing then. Have I ever gone on a chase? No, I don't know that I would. I would have to, I have pretty bad storm anxiety. I would have to feel extremely, extremely comfortable with the person that I was with. You know what I mean? It would have to be someone that I literally and figuratively trust with my life. So that would be... Can you not hear the Hollow Knight music, by the way? I hope you can. Just a little. Just like a faint little ambiance in the background. Yes, I actually do have a European tornado video planned. I have it planned. It's there. I have a ton of things listed out. It's just a matter of getting to them. I have been to many tornado watches in Oklahoma. I'd imagine so. Yeah, y'all do get a ton of tornadoes. A storm front picked up some eggs and flour over the Rockies. Now it's battering the Midwest. Hi Matthew, how are you? I hope you're doing well. What a corny joke. Yeah, the 98 degrees feels like 200 degrees, truly, with the humidity. It's really... I keep complaining about it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like over half of the US at this point. Thank you for your time and educate us doing all the research. I appreciate you and Ryan. Thank you. I appreciate you guys watching. It's cool that people even like take the time to watch the videos because they're so long, and I understand that they're long. Keep up the good work. Southside, thank you so much. Have I seen Twister? Yes, I have seen Twister. Tornado related movie? It's got to be that. I feel like if I said anything else, I don't know, that might get me kicked out of the community. Was watching Ryan's stream because I've been in many of the affected places. Yeah, I figured so, Tornadic. That's wild. I'm really glad you're safe and doing well. D, thank you so much. I would go... Should I go with Ryan? We've talked about it once a long time ago. I just don't think it's on the... I don't know if it's something that I would do. Again, just because I have pretty intense storm anxiety. Yeah, Miranda, I feel you on that. I'm the same way. Silk Song hype. Yes, Kevin. 111. I'm going to start talking about tornado stuff soon, I promise. I just wanted to say hello to everybody as they get in. Raymond! Hello! Oh my gosh, how have you been? I feel like it's been forever since I've talked to you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Cincinnati, y'all got blasted, I bet. 20th of May. Yes, I heard about the Germany tornadoes. I do really want to do a Europe tornado video, and I will, on top of South America tornado videos, and then Bangladesh in itself is like a whole video. Fresh content is always good. You live by the Great Lakes, our summer humidities. Oh, I bet it is. I bet it is. Ever wear a plastic garbage bag as clothing? No, not yet. Maybe one day. Your pretty face makes the video say, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, okay, I see. Trash bag fashion lover. Thank you. Second. Okay. Fair enough. Do not go with Reed for the first time. Yeah, not only would I be so nervous just being in his presence, I would be I would trust, of all the people that are to be trusted, Reed Timmer is certainly one of them. Ryan and Andy. Yeah, I would love to meet all of them in person. Yeah, caught the live to listen to Violence Many Things. Yes, yes. Yeah, I saw something about Quebec and surrounding. Please, I'm not gonna wear a trash bag. I'm telling you what. I'm gonna wear, you know what I'm wearing? I'm wearing a Mordor shirt. For any of you Lord of the Rings fans, it's a Mordor shirt. It's the Eye of Sauron here. Oh, you live in Plainfield, Nathan? Has your family lived in Plainfield since the 90s? Can I talk about the tornado in China? Yeah, we can talk about that now if y'all want to. Let me see. I don't have anything crazy on my Twitter. Yeah, so let me tell you guys, if you have a Twitter and you want a person to follow, I kid you not, Eric Wong is the best person to follow if you want to, just generally, but then also if you want to see tornadoes in China, because Eric Wong naturally has a lot of the Chinese social medias, and so they have like I mean anyone can get them, but always has the scoop on the Chinese tornadoes. So actually, let me do that first, and then we'll go to Eric's page. So I really haven't looked into it much, but there was some tornadoes in Guangzhou yesterday, I guess. I had no idea I had no idea, and most of us wouldn't have known until we watched his videos, so. And Guangzhou has like 18 million people, I believe. Any more documentaries coming on my channel? Yes, Dee, certainly. I'll talk about this a little bit later as well. I'm going on vacation starting tomorrow. That's why I needed to reschedule, and I'll be gone for a week. But after that, I've got like a ton of content that I'm going to push out. My goal is to go back to once a week. And what I'm going to do is have once a week a longer video like I typically do. And then I'm going to introduce shorter form of content as well, 10, 15, maybe 20-minute videos as well in there. So it'll be a good mix up. So they're not all going to be 1 hour every time. I know that's a lot for some people. So I'm going to have some shorter content. I'm going to talk about tornado myths next in a shorter video, and then go back to some of the longer form content. So it'll be a good mix up for everybody. But yeah, again, this was in Guangzhou last night. And I mean, it's really something. And a lot of you guys know China is really a hot spot for tornadoes, and last year 2021 was like a big year for tornadoes in China. So again, if you want to look at these, his content is incredible and always keeping everyone up to date on tornadoes in China. So I really encourage you to go follow him. It's seriously one of my favorite accounts, because everyone sees the stuff on Twitter, like in the weather community. We all kind of see the same content. So to have like a unique content like this from different parts of the world is really cool. I've yet to find someone who does kind of coverage like this in South America, but I would love to find that. This is from June 13th, but again, Hainan province is another one, so. Ginger, no, I'm sorry. I'm just showing, this is from not this one, but the ones I've been showing are from Guangzhou yesterday. There was a pretty intense tornado there, but these, Mongolia, Inner Mongolia as well. My gosh. Yeah, it is really interesting to see tornadoes in China. People don't talk about it as much. That's why I cannot stop talking about his content, because you don't see this kind of stuff. I mean, if this happened in the regular Twitter community that's in America, people lose their mind. You know what I mean? So this gives you these incredible pictures and images that we typically don't see. I love the long ones. Oh, thank you, Matthew. I enjoy long videos as well. I know that there's a lot of, for example, crime documentaries are often an hour or so, and I like to listen to those as I work or get ready or do whatever. So I personally enjoy them as well. I know people do too. That's why I make them. And I also find that while there are a lot of content creators that cover tornadoes and stuff, I'm certainly not anything new by any stretch of the imagination. I find that they'll often be shorter because I think that that's better for the algorithm, so I understand why they can be shorter. But to me, like talking about the meteorology and the tornado itself, the destruction, of course, and then like the recovery, and then anything else, like lawsuits are, in my opinion, a big part of that. And then one of the biggest things I like to harp on, if possible, is the National Weather Service surveys that are conducted afterwards, studies that are done afterwards. Those are really important. And I feel like it's harder to find all of those elements in one piece of content in terms of like the tornado content that's put out there. So that's why they're so long, but I really enjoy making them. China has similarly tropical places under it as we do. Yes. Yeah, it does. I've done a whole video on it, Matt. If anyone wants to, if anyone hasn't seen it that wants to, I did a whole video on tornadoes in Asia. It's mostly focused. Yeah, it is mostly focused on tornadoes in China because their tornadoes don't really happen in Korea. So, and Inner Mongolia, there's a couple from Inner Mongolia as well. But yeah, there's a northeastern China in Liaoning province, I think it is. Tornado alley in China. I hope the let's see, northeastern China has similar features to the east of the mountain range. They've got this area here that is more prone, especially right by the seaside here. That's more prone. It's kind of like their tornado alley. Info is hard to come by due to their government. I don't see. I hit a wall in where my Mandarin is extremely elementary, and there's no way I could sift through meteorological data. And that's where, again, Eric comes into play because they have access to a lot of that stuff and can read and interpret it. So it's really cool to be able to have someone to do that. Yeah, Eric Wong, 10 out of 10, recommend. Do tornadoes spin the opposite direction in South America? You know what? I don't know. Also, many Germans don't know we are a hotspot. Thank you for pointing that out. I would love to read into that more. I don't know enough about the climatology over there specifically, but I'm really interested in reading about it. What EF rating was it? Are you talking about the one from last night, OKT? In Guangzhou? I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know how quickly they survey, because I don't know what their meteorological, like their government meteorological service is like. Yeah, I would assume it would take a couple days. Yeah, and it's really odd that it hit Guangzhou. I mean, that's more southern. It's not impossible, obviously it happened, but it's a little more south. But the fact that it hit a huge metropolitan area like that is really sad. Yeah, Gary England has always been a really incredible, important part of the community. This music slaps. It does. I turned it down a little bit because I didn't want it to echo, but it surely does. By the way, check out this mug. It's a Pecos Hank mug. I feel like this past tornado season was very weak. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, thankfully, like, even just since I've been doing coverage with Ryan, there's not been any, thankfully, major... I mean, we've had EF3s certainly that have been devastating in their own sense, but I mean, we've not had an EF5 tornado since 2013, and that's not to dismiss Mayfield was arguably, you know, up in that category, and I'm not gonna debate the rating on that, but I mean, violent tornadoes are violent tornadoes. Yeah, Tuscaloosa was recorded a lot. Andover recently was recorded a lot too, and that was really interesting. Radar Omega has radars in Germany? What? That's really cool. I had no idea. I know they had some across the United States, but I wasn't sure of anywhere else. China is basically us of the east. I'm assuming that's east geographically. Huge mountain range, large flat plains, Arctic air down from Russia. Exactly, exactly. Yes. You've had too many scary encounters. I bet you have. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty. I've said hello for long enough. I wanted to sort of dissect some of the comments that I got on the video because there were some really good talking points, and again, I had so much to say. And should we get to it, I also have printed out my this is the NWS study that was talked about in the video, and this is the lawsuit that was talked about. And I'm not going to bore anyone with legal jargon, but in case anyone wants to talk about it, we can. So, oh, wait a minute, I was on top chat, not live chat. I'm sorry if I missed anyone. Alright, so I'm assuming everyone has either watched the video or is somewhat familiar with the Plainfield event. Let me sift through here real quick. By the way, I love having, like, even if it's an argument, I love having these kind of discussions. Oh, and also some people were a little, not upset, but just pointing out the fact that Bill Curtis was an integral part of warning people in Topeka, and I think maybe we're a little upset that I kind of was upset at the way Bill Curtis handled the Plainfield tornado. Bill Curtis has always been a great journalist, and in no way by me talking about Bill Curtis in one clip, in my opinion, doing a disservice to the public, does that mean that I don't like him for any reason at all. I know that he has had an incredible career and has done a lot of really wonderful things for Topeka during a tornado there, and just generally as a journalist. So I have no problems with him whatsoever. Sorry, I just want to get to the comments that I wanted to talk about. They do spin opposite direction in Australia. Interesting. Gettysburg. Everyone, a celebrity is here. Gettysburg Ma'am is here. It's our meme maker extraordinaire and history buff, Miss Gettysburg Ma'am. Thank you for coming. NWS out of Chicago did those people so wrong. It's an interesting one. Certainly an interesting one. Alright, let me just focus here and get to the comments. Oh, and a lot of people were noting about the fact that the Plainfield tornado had shared some similarities to Gerald, and the fact that not only did it move a non-traditional direction. Traditionally, the supercells will move northeast. Both Gerald and the Plainfield tornado moved in different directions, but not the traditional one, and also were really high Cape days as well. Both really eerie tornadoes. Seemingly, I know everyone likes to say came out of nowhere. I don't like saying that because I don't really agree with it, but it had that same feeling like the Gerald tornado came out of nowhere. The Gerald tornado started out like a little pencil and exploded in just a few seconds, and that was really creepy to watch because it was pretty well recorded. We don't know what the Plainfield tornado looked like, but it had that same feeling of coming out of nowhere, even though I don't like saying that. But they had very eerie, similar characteristics, if that makes sense. But some people had pointed that out. Do I know about weather modification? I don't, and if I did, I probably wouldn't talk about it on my YouTube channel. Oh, a Plainfield documentary called The Wrath of God Disasters in... Oh, I would love to watch that. I'll probably check it out after this. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that's possibly producing a tornado. Gosh, I hope everyone's safe. Yeah, certainly. Plainfield was high precipitation, rain wrapped. No one saw it coming. Gerald was very, very creepy. They just built a rest area in Gerald after the F5 with a storm shelter. Did they not have one before? I'm glad they have one now. Hello, Daniel. I hope you're doing well. Oh, those pencil funnels scare you more than wedges? That's interesting. They are pretty creepy. Can I do the Nashville tornado? I certainly can. Do you live in Georgetown? I do not. Oh, Matthew, I'm sorry. They built it in honor of those who lost their life. I'm glad they did that. That seems nice. And also probably really comforting to the people to have like an official storm shelter. Reminded the warning for a lot of places. That's all hail. Well, I hope everyone's staying safe there. Okay. So this person here, Michael Johnson, y'all saw how critical I was of the media response. That was probably my biggest complaint, and honestly the thing that just upset me the most was the media response right after the Plainfield event, because we're talking about hours later and the anchors are coming on, and in my opinion, I discussed this talking about how it wasn't the weather channel's fault, not the weather channel, geez. It wasn't the fault of the meteorologist because it came out of nowhere, and I was really critical of the things they were saying because to me there's no way they could have known exactly what happened at the National Weather Service in just a few hours, and so that was pretty upsetting to me. So this person had a response, and I liked what they had to say, and this is somewhat in defense of, let's say, for example, Bill Curtis, who I was pretty critical of at the time. So Michael says, the response of the anchors isn't too surprising. They feel the need to play an outsized role in the public influence, and it's true that some people will believe anything they say. Yeah, that's true. They know if they discredit the weather service, their viewers may not take future warnings seriously. I do tend to agree with that, because I mean, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. I certainly didn't agree with the way that they came out with the media coverage, but let's say that Bill Curtis came out and was like, yeah, the weather service messed up, and you know, we can't trust their forecast. Then what does that say to the viewers, right? Then no one trusts the National Weather Service. So it's kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't, but a really tricky situation. I do wonder if some of the past generations' technology limitations played a role in this failure. And it was a very unusual storm, an F5 tornado in August moving southeast. Reminds me a bit of the terrifying oddity that was the 97 Gerald tornado. My first instinct was to give the meteorologist the benefit of the doubt for failing to spot something that they would have never expected to see. But this wasn't the first cell that this wasn't the first tornado that this cell dropped. So I feel the same way. At first, when I was kind of reading over this case, in my brain, I was thinking, well, the radars were out of date. That's a fact. They were supposed to get new radars. So me wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt as well, I think, well, it certainly was a very strange storm. It was preceded by microburst and 4 predecessor tornadoes before it went to Plainfield. Maybe they just didn't see it. But as we'll talk about, there were so many other signs. There were calls in, funnels spotted and reported. I mean, there were so many things happening that would have pointed them, the forecasters that would have pointed them in the direction of saying, okay, this is a dangerous supercell. It's been producing funnels. It has supercell characteristics. The atmosphere is effectively changed. You know, and they got calls of funnels and tornadoes on the ground. So there were so many other factors that after I began to read, and especially with this National Weather Service survey, you really start to understand that there was absolutely no way. There was just no excuse for it. There was really no excuse. There was so much evidence against any of the claims that they had initially made after the tornado happened, and they were trying to say, well, it all happened so fast, and there were just so many poor excuses, in my opinion. And I don't know that at this point, I don't know if anybody disagrees that it was a failure, so. Gettysburg, you're under a tornado watch? Gosh, be careful. Most of the news coverage was from that rest stop. Yes. Yes. Better late than never. You're not late. I just talked about nothing for like 10 minutes. I didn't like the way the media portrayed it. And again, that's nothing like personal to the anchors. Like no one is above criticism. If I came on here and said some really goofy stuff, and someone came out and critiqued what I said, especially after a life-altering event for a major populated area, I would hope someone would come on and say, hey, look, people just died, and maybe we should take the time to figure out what happened before we go on television with it. Yeah, Xenia will definitely be another video as well. Hi Carly, you're doing amazing. I'm rooting for. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's really kind. I appreciate it. Yes, the knowledge we have today is far greater than what we had back then. I agree. Yeah, the Cape alone was wild. Most gorgeous woman on the net? I don't think so, but thank you. I'll take that compliment. The amount of time that went by before the National Weather Service declared a warning. Yes. Be careful, Wendy. Be careful out there today. Yeah, there really kind of is Diet Mountain Dew. There really kind of is 2 tornado seasons, if you will. Spring and then fall, like the change of seasons, really. I mean, I guess depending on where you live. Raymond, I'm not a fan of tornado sirens. But yes, we will talk about the Siren Mentality. I have some notes here. The Siren Mentality is really important. What's up, Shane? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for sending me down. Yes, the Black Death. I tweeted earlier about something about the Black Death, which I've been obsessed with since high school. I had to write like a senior paper, and ever since then I've been obsessed with Black Death documentaries. It doesn't matter how many times I'll listen to the same information. I'm really excited to listen to it. Okay, here's some of the juicy ones. We're gonna talk about the juicy ones. And again, I say I appreciate the people who commented, because I like to have a different perspective. And if someone doesn't agree with my video, I like to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. I think it's healthy, and Honestly, it's pretty fun too. Okay, so the Weather Service does the best they can. They are not infallible. Agreed. Tornadoes do not just appear. Agreed. The warning is always the thunderstorms. What's required for you is to pay attention when those storms are in your area. Again, I inherently agree with this. These are all things that I agree with. Storms are a force of nature and are capable of almost instant changes that cannot be predicted. I start to disagree here. That's kind of what the forecasters are there for. When storms go from being a regular thunderstorm to start becoming tornadic in nature, that's when we can start seeing things. And obviously the technology, radar technology, is different now than it used to be, but again, they were still able to, forecasters in the 90s were still able to understand when storms became tornadic. So then they go on to say it's rather stupid to keep saying there was no warning. The storm is your warning. This is where I disagree. And this is where we start talking about self-responsibility, right? And self-responsibility is a critical part of what anyone should consider when they're under, a storm watch, whether it's a severe thunderstorm watch, whether you're in a tornado risk, whatever the case may be. I wholeheartedly advocate for having a sense of self-responsibility when it comes to storms and tornadoes. You have to be your own advocate in life generally, but certainly when it comes to storms. And to me, what self-responsibility means, and I think I left this edit in the video a little bit, to me what self-responsibility in the weather enterprise means as a member of the general public, it means that you watch and listen to the forecast, your local weather person. It means that you are aware of what's going on. So if my local forecaster came on and said, in 2 days from now, on Saturday, we have a 15% risk of tornadoes, or the day of, they come out and my forecaster says, or the SPC, whoever I get my information from, even if I live back in the 90s, if the TV or radio came on and said, we have a 20, I was going to say 20% tornado risk, we have a 15% risk, we have a moderate risk, whatever it is, for tornadoes, that is it. I have the self-responsibility to make sure that my tornado plan is in place. I have the self-responsibility to make sure that I know those steps, to go through those steps. I have the self-responsibility to, when I hear a tornado warning, to go to my shelter. Those are my responsibilities as an individual. That's why I have my helmets and stuff planned, because I have a sense of self-responsibility. However, and this is a big however, in my opinion, and you all are more than welcome to disagree with this, to me, I don't know how I'm supposed to be self-responsible for a tornado warning or watch that never existed. And this is why the Plainfield event is so polarizing. This is why the Plainfield event is so big, because the people never had a chance to be self-responsible, right? And this was the situation in Plainfield. If I'm under a severe thunderstorm watch, there has been zero mention of tornadoes in the forecast. There has been zero indication of tornadoes possible by my local weather person, by the TV, radio, anybody. Not a single person has mentioned anywhere in the media or otherwise that there's a risk for tornadoes. There's no way even as a weather enthusiast, if I just have a severe thunderstorm watch, there is no way that I'm checking outside my window every 10 minutes to make sure that a rain shower is not a tornado. To me, that doesn't make sense. And that's for me as someone who really loves the weather, right? So this goes hand in hand with another major problem in the weather enterprise, which is advocating for weather awareness. We cannot, and it is kind of goofy to expect the general public to be interested enough in weather to look outside and know the signs of tornado genesis, right? Or know the difference between a regular rainstorm and a rain-wrapped tornado. We cannot expect that of the general public, and it would be silly to me, in my opinion, to expect otherwise. So the idea that people should have been responsible during the Plainfield tornado, to me, doesn't cut it, and that's because there was no indication of tornadoes in the forecast. There was no tornado warning, obviously. And also it was rain wrapped, and that's a huge thing. If we were talking about a Tuscaloosa situation where you can see it coming from literally miles away, maybe. But all of the elements came together in the Plainfield event in such a way that there's no way people could have known until it was on top of them, right? So it's a rain-wrapped tornado. You can't tell me that you think a member of the general public in 1990 is able to discern a rainstorm from far away with a rain-wrapped tornado. To me, that doesn't add up. So, although I really, really advocate for self-responsibility, and I think generally speaking, we should all have the self-responsibility to be weather aware. I have the self-responsibility to get in my tornado shelter when the time comes. I have the self-responsibility to ensure that if I'm in a 15% hatched risk, I know my plan if I have to go out in town. That is my self-responsibility. But that does not include the Plainfield situation to me, in my opinion. And I'm more than happy to, if anyone disagrees with that, I'm more than happy to talk about that. But that's my opinion on this specific event. But generally speaking, yeah, of course, I would love it if more people were generally more weather aware. And sorry, I just ignored the chat for a long time on that rant. Let me look through it for a second. What's the temperature in Atlanta? It's got to be 95. I haven't stepped a single toe outside today. Not a single toe has gone out. It's way too hot. Do I think the National Weather Service is becoming more reluctant to issue warnings? No, and that's a great question. One of the things that I read about and I talked about just briefly in the video is that there's something now that exists to forecasters, and I'm not a forecaster, but this is just what I read. It's called the Plainfield Syndrome, and it's that forecasters would rather issue an abundance of warnings for a storm than not issue a warning and then there be an accident like Plainfield happened. It's called the Plainfield Syndrome. But I don't think that applies for every forecaster. I think there's probably certainly some offices or some forecasters who are more hesitant because the false alarm rate is over 70%. I think it's 76% false tornado warning rate is. So that's probably, among many things, one of the most difficult things for them is deciding what to and not to warn, and then having to balance that decision, a potentially life-altering decision. I imagine it's incredibly stressful. I'm sorry, I have hiccups. Yeah, tornado sirens are really creepy. You painted an anti-cyclonic tornado? Well, if you have Twitter, send it to me. I'd love to see it. Yes, the Black Death is fascinating. Be safe. If y'all are in the Northeast, be safe today. Yeah, tornado sirens are certainly tricky, and we'll talk about the tornado siren here in a second too. People should really pay attention, but some don't understand weather even when explained. Yeah, certainly. It is a fine line. The people in Plainfield are not to blame. There was no warning, and if you see a thunderstorm rolling in, you would never assume there's an EF. Exactly, Hawkins. That's really my point here, is that it's like you were expecting people to be, I don't know. So Tom, one of the things I wanted to include in the video, I just didn't have time, was the video. It's called 8 Minutes in August, and It's by the Joliet Museum. I recommend you watch this. It has an interview with Tom Skilling, who is a chief meteorologist now, but was a meteorologist during the Plainfield event in the Chicago area. And he sort of talks about the event in depth as well. And I liked him, but he also had some pretty goofy things to say about the event too. But I recommend y'all watch that on your own and kind of form your own opinions on it. But I had the convo with you the other day about emergency preparedness and public health. I think these storms are become more severe from climate change. Educating to be the weather aware is key. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a climatologist, so I can't speak to whether or not severe weather is getting worse due to climate change. I don't doubt it by any means. I just don't know. Education is a key thing, and that's why I'm so excited to be working kind of in this area. I intend to fully pursue social science in the weather enterprise, but I'm happy that, to me, it seems like people are becoming more weather aware these days with the abundance of technology. So it's the same as other hazards like volcanoes. Not everyone knows about them. Yes, Daniel, that's a really, really wonderful point. I know nothing about earthquakes. I live in the east, southeast. I don't know anything about earthquakes. I don't know anything about, like, I know the very basics about tornadoes, that, you know, you get under something sturdy when an earthquake happens. That's all I know. And a lot of people are like that with tornadoes. They're like, well, I guess I'll get in the closet, but they don't, there's so many nuanced things when it comes to sheltering from a risk like that, a volcano or a tornado, or flooding, for example. A lot of people don't know anything about flooding safety. To be fair, a lot of people just don't know about it. Like, it's not their fault. And we also can't expect anyone to be interested in that kind of stuff either. That's why when forecasters get on air, they use these really simple, straightforward graphics. That's why the SPC uses incredibly straightforward graphics, because why on earth would anyone expect the general public to be like intrigued with looking at weather models? It doesn't work that way. So that's the reason why forecasters have to use these really basic like colors and numbers, because that's what people get. They see it and they're like, all right, I get that. We're at a 5 out of 5 risk. Okay. Jess says there's a lot of politics that go into issuing. I bet that, yeah. A lot of arguing. I believe that. And it's, again, I mean, I always talk about how much I really love the National Weather Service, because they always do these really wonderful internal investigations with any event that they do, and they're always their own biggest critic. And I say that probably every video, because I mean it. They're always very forthcoming with mistakes that are made, in my opinion. Now with Plainfield, I think this was an instance of a sort of catalyst for having to be a little bit more honest with saying like, hey, maybe things do need to change. And that's exactly what happened after the Plainfield event. The radars were improved, and accountability was, I don't know, I feel like a lot more present. The weather enterprise overall really did improve from the Plainfield event, but it's sad that it took a tragedy to get there. You know what I mean? In an earthquake, you get in a door jam? Are you for real? Because I genuinely wouldn't know. I'm excited for Xenia coverage. I'm really excited to do that as well. 190,000 people. Wow. Edmonton, 1987 tornado. Yeah, 74 outbreak is certainly coming. The 74 and the 2011 outbreaks are going to be bigger videos. But here's the thing with those. I don't want to put out just any video. I want to make it a really good video. So sorry, I really do have hiccups. I want to make them really good, and I'm not going to put it out until I know that they are to my standard. I'm a home care nurse and I use things, Ryan says, in my emergency planning. Wow, Autumn, that's really cool. That is really cool to hear. Yeah, the public models and stuff, it's probably one of the biggest things. Like, again, I'm actively trying to pursue a master's so that I can go into social science in the weather enterprise, because I'm so fascinated by it. And I think that we could really do a lot of improving, especially with the abundance of technology that we have now. But again, one of the main problems in the weather enterprise, to my understanding, is that you can't make it ties in with the siren mentality as well. You can't make people care about weather. You can't make people care that they're under a 15% hatch tornado risk. You simply cannot make people care. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how scary you make the graphics look. Some people just have to go to work, and some people just have like things that they have to do with their kids. And yes, it is their self-responsibility to make sure that they have a place to go. But at the same time, you can't expect that every single person's going to listen to that. And the siren mentality plays a huge, huge role in that. People don't always listen to sirens. And that's statistically proven, and unfortunately that was really proven with the Joplin tornado. We've talked about studies from the Joplin tornado. This is from 2011, but Joplin was an instance where like a large percentage of people needed 5 to 9 stimuli to get into shelter in the Joplin event. So just you cannot force people to be interested in weather. And one of the key things that plays into the siren mentality is the behavioral science behind it naturally, which a lot of times is impacted by your experience. So people who haven't experienced a disaster or a tornado or intense storm, for example, firsthand are naturally going to be a lot less likely to shelter. And again, some of those people needed 5 to 9 stimuli to get into a shelter. Whereas people who've been through an event before, they're going to be the first people to get into shelter because they know that it can be really dangerous. Okay, so actually getting the door jammed because it will protect you from almost everything falling on you. Thank you. I will note that. Hopefully Georgia never sees a major earthquake. Yes, Rebecca, I will talk about the Flint tornado. Absolutely. It's actually closer to the top of the list. From talking to a few people, they blatantly say they don't care about warnings. I believe that. Really appreciate your videos on how things change after tragedy. Yeah, I think that's one of the most important parts, is like how the community changes. Again, I'm just really interested in the social science behind it, though it's kind of why I want to be a bigger part of this community, is because I'm just so interested in hearing everyone's personal stories. And then once I actually start going for the masters, then hopefully I can work and do some research in a way that's meaningful and really contribute something back to the community. So being able to do this and hear people's personal stories is really insightful for me, and I really appreciate it, because a lot of times these are like personal family stories, you know what I mean? It's interesting because over here in the UK we're starting to get more intense tornadoes, but there are so few knowledgeable people about weather. I believe, yeah, absolutely, Daniel, I believe that. The tri-state tornado video is coming. It is coming. I've actually started my script for it, so it's certainly coming. It'll probably be a shorter one, simply because there's no video of that tornado, so it'll be a lot of pictures and, you know, me describing the event. I live right next to a sign wakes me up every time. Y'all want to know something goofy? I'm 26 years old and I live in the Southeast. I live in Tennessee and Georgia. I've never once actually heard a tornado siren in my entire life. I'm not kidding. And I've actually been through a tornado in Tennessee. Like, I was working and one passed over my town, and I never heard a tornado siren a single time ever. Not testing one, not for a tornado warning, nothing. Nothing. I'm a spotter and I still have problems understanding the models. Hey, you know what? I think everyone does. I think people who, unless they're like an actual meteorologist, I think people like to pretend they know more than they do, just generally speaking. So no, you're fine. It's really cool that you will actually say, like, I don't understand all the models, because I don't either. Urban planning and greening up cities. Diet Mountain Dew, that's really cool. That is really cool. Keep me updated on that if you do end up pursuing it. That's really neat. National Weather Service missed a wall cloud in a brief funnel that went over Lebanon, Indiana recently. Our local community was salty about it. I believe that, William. I'm sorry to hear that. It's always sort of disappointing when you expect, you know, something and it doesn't happen. Sorry, oh wow, I'm like really behind on chat. Sorry, y'all. Not all towns have sirens, right? I guess not. The Joplin tornado formed just outside of town. Not much of a chance to get to shelter. There were 2 tornado sirens for Joplin. It's just that from what I understand from first-hand accounts, people said they heard the first siren and like didn't believe that anything was happening because okay, one of the studies for Joplin, this is so interesting. They actually feel like they sounded the sirens too early. There was almost an abundance of warning in Joplin to the point where like it was warned outside of town. Tornado sirens are going off. People in Joplin are like, well, not shit's happening, so why is there a tornado siren going off? And then they ignored it, and by the time the tornado moves into town, the people are sort of realizing it as it's moving through. And this was definitely a siren mentality problem. Joplin inherently was a problem because people didn't listen to the siren. But the second siren goes off as it's like over the middle of Joplin, and then people were starting to take shelter. But the first tornado siren people generally did not listen to, and that's backed up by extensive research that was done after the Joplin event. So it was really tragic, and it was a horrible case of the siren mentality. Yeah, more Oklahoma. That's obviously going to be a video at some point. I don't know. After I did more 99, that one really kind of got me emotionally a little bit tore up, and I just like I needed a break in between talking about the 2013 because that one's a whole other thing. Yeah, Raymond, I don't understand why people still shelter under overpasses. I know it was popularized in the 90s by some videos, but I mean, gosh, I really hope that stops being a myth soon. I notice more and more people complaining about National Weather Service forecast. We are issued a threat and then the storm fizzles out and they are legit mad. I don't understand that either, Rebecca. I'd rather be safe than sorry. If the SBC tells me I have a 5% tornado risk, I'm like at home all day. But that's just me being, you know, paranoid. Carly, you and Ryan need to team up and do a video on Mayfield. I don't know if Ryan's doing a video on Mayfield or not. I know I will at some point, but again, I just want to wait for the dust to settle a little bit. I still feel like it's kind of recent. And I don't want to be insensitive. Is this louder now? I don't want to be insensitive because it's still a fairly recent event, you know what I mean? I live in Houston. Every time we get a tornado warning, I always alert my family, as you should. That's really good for you to do. Oh, if you live in Chattanooga, yeah, I feel like y'all have probably gotten quite a few. My sister lives in Chat. You don't have weather sirens in Canada? I mean, I guess that makes sense, but jeez. Wow, then what do you do if there's a tornado warning? I guess you get the weather alerts on your phone, but I mean, whoa, did y'all hear that? It was actually thunder. What? Am I at risk today? We had 2 EF1s in 2 weeks in the same county here in North Alabama. North Alabama, that does make sense, where QLCS tornadoes were, but they never were tornado warned. Oh my gosh, what year was that? Jeez, I'm sorry. Yeah, tri-state tornado is the deadliest in the U.S. in U.S. history. Joplin's up there too. I mean, if we're talking about modern tornado, I understand that like the tri-state tornado is unprecedented for so many reasons, but if y'all look at the Joplin tornado, the fatalities with the Joplin tornado, naturally a lot of these older tornadoes, like prior to 1950, let's say, have naturally higher injury and fatality rates for many reasons. Modern medicine and you know, well-built homes and lack of warning. There's so many different reasons we could go through, but if you look at the Joplin fatalities, I want to say 158 people were killed in Joplin. And for 2011, that's a horrific number. If you think about it, for modern day tornado to kill 150 something people is like really bad. All right, we're fine. Just a passing rumble of thunder. That was this year, Samuel? My gosh. I would love to see you do a report on the derecho that went through Ontario. 10 people losing their lives. I have to be honest with you, William. I'm not I'm not like up to date on that. I will absolutely read into it though. As I've mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm wanting to start doing shorter form content. And I can absolutely cover something like that if you'd like to see it. May 31st, 1985 tornado outbreak in Great Lakes region. Definitely worth a quick read on Wikipedia. Absolutely, I can do that too. I have a good list. By the time I've been doing this for like a couple years, I'm going to be such a smarty pants when it comes to weather events. Someone will be like, did you know? I'm like, yeah, I knew that. You mean the 1985 tornado? I'm going to be so well read with tornado events. I was at my church the night of the Nashville. Oh man, that was a wild one. My mom worked there and then COVID hit. I'm so sorry. Na, 是什么？是菜。是菜。Okay. So yeah. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying. 252 people died in Alabama in 2011. Yes. Yes. How kind. Okay. Yeah, Raymond. Certainly the super outbreak of 2011 is just absolutely unprecedented. It's like sometimes I don't even use it as a reference to compare it to other events because it's simply uncomparable. Like it was such an anomaly, as you all know. Yeah, Joplin 158. I don't know, for some reason the Joplin one always sticks with me so much more. I don't know if it's because there's a lot of like graphic information out there about Joplin, and for some reason it just kind of sits weird with me, the Joplin tornado with the fatalities. I mean, obviously the super outbreak was very intense, but if you look at a single tornado event, so the deadliest tornado in the 2011 outbreak, I want to say was I think Phil Campbell, Hackleburg, or maybe Philadelphia, but there were 78 fatalities in Phil Campbell from the one single event. So the 2011 event was many, many violent tornadoes. But the Joplin tornado was a single tornado that took 158 lives, whereas the deadliest single tornado in the 2011 event was like 78. Obviously, those are both horrific numbers, but I don't know. The Joplin one just really sticks with me. How come tornadoes sound like a freight train? I guess the wind is just does that. I hope I never hear it. Oh, you get something kind of like Amber Alerts. I wonder what they did before smartphones. It's interesting. Drew put out a video here a bit ago on the Omega channel talking about the derecho. I'll have to go watch it. Kind of think a case study video between Hackleburg, Mayfield, Tri-State, Woodward would be interesting. Long track versus tornado family. That's interesting. I would be scared for my life too, Miranda, in the Nashville tornado. Absolutely. October 23rd, Junction City, Missouri got hit by an EF2. Well, thankfully no deaths. This tornado season is very disappointing. Hi, Patrick. Hope you're doing well. You and Blaze make awesome video. Yeah, Blaze. I don't do anything. It's all Blaze. It's not me. He's actually just walked in here. NASCAR Sam. Yeah, 2011 was the Phil Campbell. Yeah, that makes sense. Next deadliest was Tuscaloosa. Have I thought about going chasing? Yes and no. I have storm anxiety. That's why I know so much about weather. Because for myself and for a lot of people, as I've discovered, a lot of people have storm anxiety. But for me, learning about tornadoes has been the best way to sort of take back my sense of comfort in just knowing what's happening. I always felt that looking at the information on the forecast was never enough. Like I would hear that there would be a tornado threat and I would just be like, oh my God, I'm scared. And I didn't like it. And I would watch the forecast and watch all these other things. And it was never enough. I wanted to know more. Like I wanted to feel safer. And I was like, man, looking at this one little graphic is not doing it for me. So I pretty much just watched so much weather content, like as much as I could. And then eventually start kind of looking at models and just inundating myself with that information. So now when an event happens, I actually have a lot better of an understanding of what my risk is. And it makes me feel a lot better, honestly. But would I go chasing? That was a long-winded answer. Maybe I would just have to feel really, really, really safe with the person. But I mean, it's not something I would do like in the near future. They sent 911 to your pager, Gettysburg, ma'am. Oh my gosh. Marine warnings drove me nuts. Oh, I bet. Tanner, Alabama was struck by 2 F5 tornadoes an hour apart in the 74 outbreak? Wow. Wow. That's horrible, Cole. I'll have to read into that. The Forgotten Giant. The Nebraska EF4. Y'all know today's like the anniversary of the Pillager twins, I think. Your home almost got hit by the Moore Bridge Creek tornado. That's horrifying. I hope everything is okay. It would be a great meteorologist. Oh, I'm not going. I have a Bachelor of Arts. I have an English degree. I used to be afraid of thunderstorms, so I became a forecaster, so it never... Just thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I'm just so happy that I've come across this community. I'm so happy that I'm not the only one that learns about weather because of storm anxiety, but it has been the most comforting thing to me to learn about it. And especially in Ryan's chat, I see a lot of people talk about their storm anxiety and they're just really nervous. And so if I can make anyone feel better, then absolutely. And I still have storm anxiety. Like if I'm under a 5 or 10% risk, I still get really nervous. I don't know that that's going to change anytime soon, but I just want other people to know that like I see you. I want you to feel seen. There's a lot of people out there who have storm anxiety, and there's a lot of people who have PTSD from tornado events as well. I do too, and we don't get tornadoes here. Yeah, absolutely. I think even if I lived in like Svalbard, I would still probably have tornado anxiety. I don't know. I think Pecos Hank captured those. I can't recall specifically, but he probably was there. If it was a major event, he probably was there. Hallam was 2.5 miles wide and tracked much longer than El Reno. It's art. You know what, Red? I know what you're talking about. I want to say, wasn't that in 2007? I want to say it was sometime around then, because it was also obscured, if I'm remembering correctly, it was also obscured by Greensburg, because Greensburg happened in that, or maybe Hallam was 2004? I can't remember explicitly, but I also want to look into that. I'm really interested. When a tornado sounds like a jet engine, when it's hitting not much stuff, it's mostly the winds. Yeah, I don't want to imagine that. Have I ever watched VTVF's News Channel 5 Nashville's coverage of the Nashville tornado? I've not. I have not. You know what the wildest thing that I've seen like live happen on air was the New Orleans tornado a couple months ago. I mean, that and Andover recently, because I mean, I've watched some things unfold live. I did watch Noonan happen live because my family was in the path of that storm, and let me tell y'all, that was the most horrifying experience. I never want to go through that again. I mean, being in the weather enterprise and you know that it's like a violent tornado because you can see it on everyone's face. You can see it on the forecaster's face, and I'm watching like our local forecaster just have this horrible expression on his face, trying to keep his composure, and it's like moving over Noonan and there's a debris ball, and you know, it's just that sinking feeling, and my family was literally right in the way. And I mean, I just sat there and like cried because what else can you, there's literally nothing you can do but call them, and you're like, hey, are you safe? Are you in your safe space? Yes. Okay. And then you just sit there and wait. I'm sure a lot of you have had a similar experience, but it's horrifying. It's horrifying. They're okay. But I mean, and incredibly, Noonan caused no fatalities, but I actually just went there recently to visit them, and I mean, they're pretty much recovered at this point, but still just horrifying to watch something like that happen live. Atlanta has been struck, Eric, in 98, and I want to say again in like 2007 or 8 by an EF3, maybe? Something like that. I have PTSD from bushfires. Wow. I'm so sorry. Many people in Noonan, Georgia have PTSD. Yes. Also, hello, Sirens Project. Yeah, I believe that. Like I said, my family was in the way, and they had 2 teenagers at the time, and so I haven't explicitly asked them, but I imagine they're probably pretty scared of storms like that now. We still have hazardous tree removal operations going on there, and most homeowners still have severe. I imagine so. When we drove through kind of the main area. The biggest thing that I saw anyways, just in my brief drive through, was the trees snapped. And I've never seen that in person, the way that the trees were just like, the top of them is just all at the same level as well. It seems like just all snapped off. I've never seen that in person. Of course, a lot of new construction going on. And the high school still looked pretty bad to me. Watching the Andover tornado, oh my gosh, I'll tell you guys, me and Andy and I were on stream with Ryan, and the way that happens is we're in a Zoom call, so Andy and I can see each other from our Zoom call, and we can also hear each other. We also are able to hear each other behind the scenes so that other people don't hear us. We were losing our minds over it. I mean, we were like, whoa, and I'm sure a lot of people were watching it too on Reed's stream, but that was so intense to watch live. That was so intense. The New Orleans one was really intense to watch live as well. Share a video the span. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're trying to say. Andover 22 is the creepiest tornado I think I've ever seen. It's up there. It's up there for me too. What's the scariest tornado for me? Joplin or Jarrell, hands down. Those two just really get me. Do I think that the December 10th outbreak was rare? I don't know how like climatologically rare it was. I'm not an expert, and so I hesitate to even answer that question because I don't have the expertise to answer that question, but I don't think that December tornadoes are particularly rare. I don't know about the rarity of violent December tornadoes. That's a good question. It's a really good question. But for example, the tornado that moved over, I'm originally from Tennessee, the tornado that moved over where I lived was November 30th, so pretty close in that time frame. Yeah, my family was okay. Everything was okay. Anyone else think that shelf clouds are scarier than wall clouds sometimes? Yeah, for sure. Yes, the forgotten giant. Absolutely. Absolutely. the Mulhall tornado that happened just a few hours after Moore, it was said to be as violent, if not, wow. I definitely will look that up. Thank you for letting me know. 2013, 16, 19. Alaska, Rhode Island, Washington, D.C. I need to move to one of those places. Dreamfield, hello. I hope you're doing well. My family had an EF4 tornado the day after Christmas 2015. Oh my gosh. What state was that in? I'm so sorry. Spain has PTSD? Does he have PTSD from like the 74? I'm curious to know. That's really interesting. Yeah, Greensburg was really creepy too. You sent me a link on Twitter. Okay, thank you. I'll definitely check that out. Oh, there was one more comment I think I wanted to read. This was a really good one. I'm happy this person, Justin, commented. And this is the gist of the other comment as well. I don't think the broadcasters should have tried to place the blame for not getting it right on anyone but themselves, but are they really responsible for us? They're only humans like we are. Getting to have weather channels and Twitter and TV and phones and a billion ways to receive warnings is a wonderful privilege that we have today, and I think that's what it is, a privilege, not a right. And if you live in a tornado-prone area, you know you live in a tornado-prone area. If it starts to storm bad, you should take shelter. If it gets dark outside and it's not the right time of day to be dark, maybe check outside the window to know what's going on. I can see it from both perspectives. Again, I agree with all of those statements, just not all of them are applicable to the Plainfield event because of a lot of the reasons we discussed earlier. First of all, nobody in Plainfield had Twitter and abundance of warnings. In fact, they had no warnings at all. So I do agree that it's a privilege for us to be able to have the abundance of warnings that we have now. I do wholeheartedly agree with that. And I also wholeheartedly agree that you should be aware of your surroundings. But it's hard to be aware of your surroundings in terms of tornadoes when there's no tornado watch or warning and it's rain wrapped. There was really no effective way for people to know what was going on. And again, this goes back to what I was harping on earlier. There's no way for people to effectively know the difference between a rain wrapped tornado and just like a regular thunderstorm. And let's talk about some of the points that were made as well are that, well, if you're hearing the freight train sound, if your house is coming apart, you should know to get into shelter, right? Yes, technically, but by the time you start feeling the effects of the tornado, for example, your windows blow out or something starts shaking, the tornado's already on top of you. By the time something starts to actually go in your home, whether it be your window, whether it be you hear something shaking on top, the tornado's already on top of you. And again, going back to statistics, statistics show that part of the greater percentages of being injured comes from people attempting to get into shelter that just either aren't able to make it on time or kind of barely make it, or maybe they're like barely getting in the door and then the roof's off and you're not like fully protecting your head. Maybe you don't have a helmet, maybe you don't have things on top of you. So that's a whole other point of contention with the Plainfield tornado, is that there's a discrepancy there, right? Like even if someone, oh hi Blaze, even if someone had a couple seconds where their roof's starting to come off, I know a couple people were actually watching TV, and one person even commented like, how are you watching TV until the tornado rips your thing off? It's a couple seconds, if not just a split second, between you're watching TV and then, you know, things start to happen. Hey Blaze. And then your roof's gone, you know? A lot of people get injured that way. Blaze says hello. Say hi. He said hi. I felt bad for James Spann on April 27th. He called out the skyline because of radar display. Yeah, Raymond, that's a great point. Thank you for mentioning that. Some people I think were potentially killed in I know there were people killed in that area in Tuscaloosa, and there was a radar discrepancy in the path of the Tuscaloosa storm. And I'm sure that he probably feels terrible about stuff like that. Yeah, Susie. Why was everyone forgot about the Parkersburg 2008 EF5? It was literally like Greensburg, but during the day. You know what? That's a good question, OKT. I don't know either. I don't know either, but hold on, let me close my door. Blaze likes to barge in and out as he pleases. You should always have a plan and more than one way to get a warning. Remember in 2011, the radio tower was out. Yes. Yes, agreed. Again, self-responsibility is really important. Everyone should have a way to get warnings. With the abundance of warnings that we have, there's no reason why people shouldn't be able to get a warning. Like I said, I've never had a tornado siren in my entire life, but have been under tornadoes and tornado warnings, so certainly no excuse. Everyone in 2022 should, we hope, have access to tornado warnings, one way or another. But in 1990, that really wasn't the case, especially not with Plainfield. People just didn't have that. Middlebury, damaged force structures. Yeah, y'all don't. It's interesting because Vermont doesn't really get tornadoes like that. So I would argue it is interesting. Tri-state tornado fascinates me because of its form, which was just a wall of rain to the eyewitness. Yes, that's why they're so dangerous. I've had a bunch of people request that I do the Parkersburg tornado, and I just haven't looked. I mean, there's obviously so many that I need to get to. But it's on the list. I always say that it's on the list. It's on the list. I think that was all the interesting comments so far. I really am happy to have these kind of discussions. Genuinely, even if people are like, I really hate the way that you covered this tornado and I think you should have given credit to the NWS. That's fine. That's fine. If someone disagrees with me, that's cool. I'd like to have the discussion about it. But if y'all have not had enough, for some reason, of the Plainfield video or the event in general, you can watch 8 minutes in August. I had included it initially, but it's copyright by the Joliet Museum, and I don't know, an hour's long enough, okay? So it has Tom Skilling in it. He has quite the insightful interview as someone who did work as a meteorologist in Chicago during the Plainfield event. She also gives a really compelling story. There's a lot of pictures, so if you're just interested in the story more, I would recommend go watch that one. I think what we'll do too is, because I stream on Twitch sometimes too, I think what we'll do is watch some of these older really good documentaries and just react to them and talk about them together, maybe on Twitch, probably when I get back from vacation. I heard that Philadelphia, Mississippi tornado had ground scouring to 2 feet. I think so. I think you're right. Parkersburg tornado. Hearing okay, we're not used to hearing about not getting ample warning time. Our local meteorologists have excellent coverage. Yes, absolutely. You know who I really like is a little controversial, Mike Moore. I really like Mike Moore. I know some people don't like him, but I do. Is your Twitch somewhere? I don't know that I have it on my YouTube channel, but I'll link it at some point, but if y'all want, it's Carly Barley. just there. And sometimes I play video games, but I think what I'll do is probably sometimes just watch tornado videos and then we'll talk about them together. I think that would be fun. So there's a lot of good ones out there. Are you thinking of doing the Beast Kentucky? Yes, I will do the quad state tornado after I do a video on the tri-state tornado. So once you guys see the tri-state tornado, you will know that the next video will be the quad state tornado video. But as I've said, I just want the dust to settle a little bit more from the Mayfield event because it still only happened a couple months ago. People are still kind of very freshly grieving. Oh, hey, look, my notifications come up. Thank you. People are still grieving their loss. There are still active lawsuits happening. I just want to... Thanks, guys. I just want to give it some time. And I think that's the best approach. I've considered doing it many times in the past couple months. I just want it to be... I want to be sensitive of those things. Are you going to do another video of tornadoes from different parts of the world? Yes, Julie, I am. I think the next one I'll do is going to be South America. I kind of want to make a Korea tornado video too, just because I found a couple really interesting. Korea doesn't really get tornadoes, but they have gotten a few that are really interesting. South America, and then at some point after that, Bangladesh tornadoes are really infamous. Really violent. 75 Omaha is another one that gets ignored. There's sadly a lot that just get overlooked. Yes, Brian, I will also be doing hurricane videos once I educate myself more on hurricanes. I'm familiar with them, but not at the level I am with tornadoes. I want to get a little more familiar with the meteorology with hurricanes, but I will do them this summer, especially during peak hurricane season. I'll definitely do some of those videos because I do find them fascinating. Yeah, if you live in Oklahoma City, I hope you're weather aware. Yeah, I like Mike Morgan. I know some people don't. Tornado talk is fabulous. I agree. Yeah, we love Skyrim. I love Skyrim. It's not always fun to stream on Twitch though, because thank you, Miranda. You're a much better mod than I ever am. Skyrim is not fun to stream because it's like kind of, I like to do it just in my spare time to zone out with. Jubilee. I can't believe you said that. Okay, listen, I'll give y'all the inside scoop. I wrote a whole script on here. I'll just show y'all my channel here. Okay, this is what I do. Here's my completed scripts over here. These are my future ones in the middle. These are my current scripts, and there's a lot to get the inside scoops. Okay, here they are. There's a lot. All right, so where did it go? Oh my gosh. Tornado Myths is one that I'm working on right now. Okay, and hold on. And I also, why can I not find it? I know I'm staring at it. Okay, it's literally the top one. All right. 10 times tornadoes made ghost towns and other towns wiped out. I made this whole list, okay? And then you know what happened? I went to YouTube and I was like, there's no way someone hasn't already done this. And I went and I saw these incredible videos done by other creators. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I can't do it anymore. Because I didn't want to feel like I know it's not copying another idea because I know it's not off limits for me to talk about tornado ghost towns, But the way that this other creator did the Tornado Ghost Town video was so good because he actually went to the towns and visited them, and I thought there's no way I can top that. There's nothing I can add to this, and that's one of my biggest things. I want to like add to a discussion if I'm going to be talking about an event, and I felt like there's nothing I could add, so I'll probably revisit the idea, but you know what I mean? That's just kind of how I felt about it. He did such a good job. Truth, hello. I'm doing well. How are you? The Thurman, Colorado tornado of 1924 is incredibly sad and remains the deadliest in Colorado history. Oh my gosh. All the deaths occurred in one single farmhouse. That's pretty disturbing. Which program am I using? Oh, this is called Notion. It's the best thing I've ever used ever. I use it for everything. My daily schedule. If y'all can see that. Thank you all for the follows on Twitch. I'm sorry if that's annoying, by the way. My work agenda, the meteorology, and these are my Chinese study stuff. It's called Notion. Notion. It's incredible. It's great for organizing. Highly recommend. Yes, hurricanes can cause tornadoes. Certainly. At least 80 people have been confirmed dead in Kentucky. Yeah, that's kind of the biggest reason I'm a little hesitant to make the quad state tornado video now, just because I want to be sensitive of that fact. It's only been a couple months. And I don't want to I don't know, I don't like those videos where people are like, oh my god, like a crazy tornado went through and destroyed everything, and look at the radar, like look at the reflectivity. I hate that. It kind of gives me a gross feeling. I don't really like it. Other people are welcome to do that. I just feel like when it comes to fatalities, I want to be a little more sensitive to families. Just give it some time and cover it in a way that's really thoughtful and adds something. And not just to talk about it because it's like a wild event. There was over 100 tornado warnings with Hurricane Harvey back in 2017. My gosh. Then you got flooded. Jeez. Science out there did Ghost Town. You know what? Actually, Cole, that might have been what it was. I'll go ahead and tell y'all to watch it. Yes, it is. It is. Science out there. If you want to watch Tornado Ghost Town videos, it's from Science Out There. I think they have done 3 in total. So this is the reason why I chose not to make that video, because I saw these videos and I thought he's done everything there is to do. This is it. These are so good that I'm no longer doing it. Look, we've even got the radar coverage. We've got the actual video. It's all here. I would go watch these videos. They're really cool. I'll have to think of something else to do. We just try to fund Carly to go out to these places. I want to see you walk the entire 219 miles. Is that my project? Is I'm walking the entire 219 mile path? Yeah, there were actually a couple pretty nasty storms in the quad state day. I keep using air quotes for quad state because it's, I don't know. I don't like saying that. Crackdown, thank you so much for enjoying the content. Thank you, thank you. I think I mentioned there were 3 forgotten EF4s on 20. Yeah, that's, Jubilee, you literally are reading my mind. That's one of the videos I wanted to do is about, okay, so there's multiple levels we can do here. One is to talk about the forgotten tornadoes of the April 27th, 2011, and then the outbreak that happened before April 27th. I can't remember what day. I want to say like April 14th or 11th, something along those lines. But there was another pretty large outbreak that never gets talked about in April 2011, so I want to talk about those. Thank you, Miranda. Yeah, it's important to me. the last thing I would want as a family member or friend of someone who passed away in a violent event is like for someone to just make a YouTube video to just like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I just want to wait. Do you think live video would cut down on tornado related deaths, or do you think it will increase them? Ooh, that's a good question, Raymond. Especially with doing the news from Ryan, we get a lot of videos of people going out of their way to take footage of a storm as it's approaching. So it's really hard for me to speculate. I think generally the overall awareness of the general public is increasing a lot in terms of storms and like recognizing the signs of dangerous storms. However, there's a lot more people who are more adamant about capturing the storm on film, which is obviously inherently dangerous. So I try to make a point to not send those up to Ryan to show on stream because I don't want to advocate for that. And that's something I think that we all really agree on. Is that, and Ryan's really good about saying this too, like, hey, if you're going, like, make sure you're taking a safe video. If you're going to take a video, like, don't go out there and take a video if you're under a tornado warning. It's not what we want you to do. So it's a hard question to answer. I don't know. I hope live video will cut down on tornado injury and fatality. And that's something James Spann's talked about a lot. As you know, Raymond, I know you know this. It goes back to the stimuli and visuals, the behavioral science. If you see a tornado, if you see the threat that you're perceiving, you are significantly more likely to take action from that danger if you can see it or perceive it as being a real thing, versus just hearing a siren or hearing someone say there might be a tornado. That doesn't really do a lot for you in your brain. Our brains want a confirmation. So having that visual confirmation is so much better for us to be able to kind of rationalize in our brain going to shelter, if that makes sense. Kylo Meep, I like that name. Oh, hi, Robert. Quad State isn't a good name for it, to be fair. It was re-nicknamed the Beast. Okay, actually, I didn't know that. I might start referring to it as the Beast. I know that that's how I know it is the Quad State Tornado. And logically, it makes sense to call it the Quad State Tornado. And also, I don't know, it just draws so many similarities to the Tri-State Tornado. So it makes sense, but I don't know. I don't even know if the official rating has been put out. I know they've done the preliminary rating, but I don't know if they've done like the actual confirmed ratings yet. I think that was another one of the reasons I didn't want to make the video yet. June 1st is the official start of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season through November 30th. Yes. Yeah, I will definitely do a pillager video. I'm going to do like some of these. I'm not saying the pillager event's a smaller event, but I'm going to do a video of like my top 10 creepiest tornadoes, and pillager is going to be there. Pillager. I don't know why I keep saying pillager. Pillager. And I think today's the anniversary of that event, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Pecos Hank videos are a quintessential part of the community. The 2011 middle children tornadoes, because they don't get mentioned. Well, hello, it's your first time watching the stream while it's live. It's only my second time doing this, so you haven't missed on much, but welcome. I'm glad to have you. There's a lot of the story to be written about the 1210 tornadoes. Yeah, how the communities recover is going to be a big part of it due to economics of rebuilding. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's another reason for me to wait a little bit, to see how that works out. That reminds me of a theory that Tornado Alley is moving. I'm not sure if it's true. I've read studies that point, like by scientists that say yes. Actually recently. I was writing a script yesterday, and I've read studies that say yes, that Tornado Alley is shifting east, but also Tornado Alley is always, at least since records began in 1950, has always been more expansive than people make it out to be. Like, it's never only been the one sliver. It's always included, like, Hoosier Alley, Dixie Alley, and a lot of these other, like, Arklatex region. It's always been there. I think we're just becoming a lot more aware. Lately, meteorology is still very much growing. It's still, like, relatively considered a newer science, a young science. And tornado records only began in, like, 1950, so I think we're still learning a lot. But I have read studies that say Tornado Alley is shifting towards the east. So I don't know, take that as you will. Do you think we need less tornado sirens or more tornado sirens? I'm in favor of less tornado sirens because people need the NOAA weather radios. I hope ultimately what happens is that because technology is just so intertwined in our everyday lives now, that becomes our source for information. And I also hope that people get NOAA weather radios, because we know that the siren mentality doesn't really, like, in 2022, I don't know how many people actually genuinely get their only tornado warning from a siren. I think there's got to be, like, a really, really high percentage of people, most people get their warnings from their smartphones, and probably a small percentage that gets them from TV, radio, and then maybe a NOAA weather radio. That's a good question, though. The beast was really strong, estimated to have over 3 billion in damage, which is the highest ever. It was meant to be EF5. I think that, like, regardless of the rating, it was, I think everyone can agree, it was just so wicked strong. Like, it was just a really wicked storm. And I think people wanted, I think the community really wanted to get that EF5. Like, mostly, I personally believe that comes from a lot of the younger weather enthusiasts that just, like, wanted it to be an EF5. But I mean, none of us were there, so I'm never going to question a rating on, I would never question, like, a rating when I wasn't there. It is the anniversary, June 16th, 18th. It's listed on Google. All right. Big brain time. Is there a media bias towards covering tornadoes in rural areas? In what way? That's a good question. I like that question. Didn't the Pilger supercell produce 4 EF4s, including the twins? I don't know. All I am familiar with this event is that it produced the, really photogenic twins. Do you find yourself in this thing called live streaming? Do you enjoy? I do enjoy. I think I need to get better at being more entertaining, if that makes sense. The video you posted about Plainfield is really interesting. Well, thank you. I also found it quite interesting. Any update as to why sirens were not operating properly in Wisconsin yesterday? I'm not familiar with that, Carrie, but that's a good question. That's a great question. Anytime I've generally heard any, like, Broadcastify radio feeds, like EMS feeds, talk about the sirens not working, it's like a technical problem, not because they're purposely not sounding them, if that makes sense. Tornado sirens are a weird topic right now. Tornado sirens are a lot older technology. I don't know. It's interesting that tornado sirens are even still used, and I think it's just like we have some people that are, like, holding on to, like, not using technology, and some people, I think what they don't want to happen is, like, all right, we're done with the sirens, we're getting rid of the sirens, and then what happens is, like, there's a small group of people who rely on the sirens, and then taking them away takes away their one warning. It's a really tricky situation. I think ultimately they will get rid of them at some point because a lot of sirens are like literally World War II technology. So I think eventually we will get rid of them. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it'll be really interesting to see it play out. So then any stats on the tri-state tornado is purely conjecture. I haven't started the tri-state tornado script. I don't know any of like the numbers on it. Even people like Reed Timmer confirmed that there was an EF5 rating, which was odd. It's tough to say. I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it either way. I just think that like it caused the damage it caused, and whether it got an EF5 or an EF4 rating is irrelevant because the same amount of people lost their lives, the same amount of homes were gone. So again, I think it kind of went back to people just really wanting an EF5 for some reason. I think because it's been 9 years now since we've had an EF5, and for some reason people just kind of wanted to see that happen. But I mean, I guarantee you the people that live in Mayfield probably don't care that it was rated an EF4. You know what I mean? The admin of the Facebook group Everything Hurricane Related does NOAA weather radio giveaways. Hey, that's really cool. I like that. Y'all should check out that Facebook page then. I don't think it matters what the Mayfield tornado was rated, plus Tim Marshall was there. That's true, Miranda. Tim Marshall was there, and he is the man. If anyone knows what they're doing with survey, it's Tim Marshall. James Spann doesn't discriminate for rural areas. He always said this country has a problem with the big, sexy Tuscaloosa type tornadoes and not the ones that hit Cordova. I'd agree with that. There probably is, I think like the smaller tornadoes get covered when nothing else happens, but when a Tuscaloosa type event happens, like I agree, the Cordovas are ignored. The Hacklebergs are ignored. I mean, geez. Dale, I know exactly what you're talking about. The tornado sirens in downtown Chicago. We can watch that actually so y'all can know what we're talking about. Chicago. It was the first thing that popped up. Did y'all see that? Look, I've already watched the video. I think they were broken though. Oh, that was creepy. I hope that didn't like blow y'all's ears out. Sirens are a good redundancy just in case. That's a good point. Vortex, thank you for sharing that. I do think that's a good point. I'm only just a photography channel, but I plan on making a video of Iowa tornadoes just to talk about Iowa history. Yeah, I would. That's awesome. I think you should. Oh, you meant the tri-state tornado of 1925? Yeah, I don't know, Dale. I'll have to look into it more. Yeah, absolutely. We should be glad it's been 9 years. Maybe they could install home rapid pressure drops that set off an alarm. Paul, I don't know how close you have to be for, I like that big brain thought. That's a big brain thought. I don't know how close you have to be for the pressure to drop for that to set off. Like, I feel like by the time the pressure, I could be wrong. I don't know what the radius is for pressure to drop in the vicinity of a tornado. But what if that pressure drop is like inside the tornado and not in the affected regions? And so by the time the alarm goes off, the tornado's on top of you. I have heard people talk about their animals like perking up though. So perhaps you're onto something there. I've heard people talk about their animals kind of perking up before events like that. My young cousins were actually dug out of their schools during EF5 and more. Oh my God. They're young adults now. Wow, Stryker. I'm really glad they're okay, but I can only imagine the kind of trauma that they probably have from that. I'm so sorry. It would be better to have more years like 2018 and not even have EF4s. Yeah, true. True. They were not broken. Okay, so that's just the way it sounds. Okay. That's really creepy then. The EF5 drought isn't true if you're going off wind speeds, but that's not how the system works. Yes, that's true. I think in terms of like destruction, I don't know. I'm not going to compare more to anything else, nor am I going to compare Mayfield to anything else. But again, the destruction is the destruction. It's a rating doesn't change it. It's just tragic either way. And I think in terms of like the complaint about the way that the rating system is, to my understanding, Ren and Stimpy vibes. To my understanding, there's so much we still don't know about tornadoes to the point that the damage system is all we can do. That's all we can do that's as good as it's going to get because we simply don't have a more effective way to rate tornadoes accurately because we simply just don't know enough about them yet. And so, as you guys know, it's just based off damage. So it's the DIs. I know there's DI and DO. There's damage. There's 14 damage indicators on a scale, and they do with that what they do. That's just how the sirens actually sound. That's horrifying. J Max, I hope sirens never go away. You need all means necessary to. You know what? I agree with that. That's a good point. When I hear EF5, I hear those buildings were perfectly built and nothing would have survived. Yeah, that's true. I mean, one of the biggest arguments I've heard people talk about with Mayfield is that if this wasn't an EF5, then what was? I hear that argument a lot, but I mean, more was. I mean, there's plenty of other ones that were EF5s. It's just how big of a difference is like high-end EF4 and an EF5? They're still both extremely catastrophic. I know someone who experienced pressure drop, but it wasn't until her house started to come apart. Okay, Robert, that's insightful. Thank you. That's what I was wondering. That was a really good thought, but I don't know how close you have to be to record pressure drops like that. I thought they had to be really close just because I read about Tim Samaras capturing the biggest pressure drop in history on an EF4, but like the sensor had to be in the tornado. Yeah, it was a really big brain thought though. Hello from Scotland. Hippie Shake, hello. I'm doing well, and I hope you're doing well in Scotland as well. Well. My cat went crazy when we had a tornado in Omaha, Nebraska. Oh, was it like well before, Melissa? That's sad. Kitty knows best. Sips water. I know, I need more water. Years ago, my mom's dog was barking like mad, and not long after, she spotted a wall cloud. Wow. Okay, so everyone just needs a dog. They are working to create a new Fujita scale soon. That's interesting. Or the first sensor hit off can set off a chain reaction. So we're just going to create new... We're going to do something really mind-blowing here in this very chat. Mix sensors for tornadoes. Y'all have some big brains. What's your opinion on the ones who want to make it a federal law to make newly constructed homes and mobile homes to pre-install NOAA weather radio. I would really advocate for that. I'd be out there with a big sign. I know that there's a lot of politics involved. Of all the major events I've covered, there's always some kind of politics behind, not because in my mind, after these events happen and then I'm reading and I'm like, okay, so they built a shelter, right? And then they don't. And I'm like, why on earth would you not build a shelter in that town after it's just been hit? Sometimes they do, but a lot of times they just like don't want to spend the money on it. And there's a lot of politics that go behind it. So if the very least we can do is advocate for NOAA weather radios to be built into mobile homes at the very least, I think that's like a bare minimum. I would advocate for every county to have storm shelters, but I know that's not feasible, although, like in tornado prone areas, although I know that would never happen. The least we could do is NOAA weather radio. So Raymond, that's like a very big brain thought. Tim Marshall once said that Gerald was the benchmark for extreme EF5 damage. Yeah, I've heard that too. I agree. Gerald is the reason I said earlier that Gerald is the creepiest tornado to me is because I've never, and yes, it's due to the slow forward velocity, but like I have never heard such graphic stories of like violent damage to people and structure than Gerald. It's extremely disturbing. Sirens work great when you're outside. They helped me once when I was out of town visiting friends. I had to shelter in the back of a Walmart. Well, yeah. The more y'all say it, the more I do agree that we probably should keep sirens. Just in the off chance that they help one person. If it helps 100 people, if it helps one person, we should keep them. And we'll just have a redundancy of warnings. I mean, it's never going to hurt to have that redundancy. Many people's ears don't pop till the tornado's over them. Okay. The majority of Moore was high in EF4. Yeah, Greensburg flashbacks. Greensburg was horrible too. My cat lived to be 20. Oh, Blaze is getting old. I think someone asked me earlier how old Blaze is. Like 12, I think. He's 12 this year, I want to say. Oh yeah, thank you, Miranda. I appreciate that. My dog will be useless, sleeps through every storm. That's funny. I've done some work in hospice, and the last PT had her cats all line up on the porch. Aww. Man, I love cats. I don't know what I'm going to do without Blaze. I'll absolutely lose it. Yeah, Gerald was... yeah, I agree with that. The only people who survived the direct hit for Gerald was people who... This man who built an underground tornado shelter because he had gone through a tornado before. He built an underground tornado shelter for his family, and they were the only people who survived. Let me take that back. Let's backtrack. I think there was maybe one other person who survived, but it was horrifying, the kind of stuff that came out of Gerald. Codell, Kansas was hit on my tornadoes on May. Oh, wow. Current watch in PA where I am. Seems like it's going to split up by the time it gets here. Well, Dylan, the SPC says, ooh, an enhanced risk. You have a 5% today. Just be careful. I don't have a siren in my town, but I have a shelter in my Papa's garage. Hey, I like Papa. I used to call my grandpa Pop. Tornadoes are so common in Oklahoma, it could be argued that tornado season is all year. True. Oh, Miranda, one of your cats is 17 next month. Oh, I've heard of cats living to literally 30 years old. So I'm giving that energy to you for your kitty. Gerald, Texas trees were literally picked up and shredded and debarked and slammed back into the ground and scraped against the ground so much. Yeah. They just turned into powder, basically. My dog would be useless to wake me up for the smallest rumble of thunder. Your dog's overly aware. It says I'm watching Carly Barley for 34 minutes. Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. I don't know how y'all are watching me for a long time, by the way. I'm always so boring on stream. But I enjoy talking to y'all, and that's what matters, I guess. Like I said, I think... Oh, no, it stopped. Like I said, next time I think... Let me know if that's too loud for y'all. I think I'll just get on Twitch and do some reactions to other tornado, like the old school. I really love the retro tornado documentaries. They're my favorite. Kinsey, hello, first of all. Yeah, Blaze is the cutest boy. Orange Kid is very cute. Just thinking, Raymond is just thinking out loud, because by law we're required to have carbon monoxide detectors. No, it makes a lot of sense. I don't understand why we don't have NOAA weather radios. I agree with that, especially in a place like Alabama. I mean, the Southeast, as we all know, is notorious for having a lot of mobile homes. And that's, you know, one of the things James Spann has always harped on is that the people who live in mobile homes, like, you cannot be in the mobile home. You cannot be there. Even for, like, you know, straight line damaging winds. I know James Spann calls them shoeboxes, and I agree with that. They're really shoeboxes. Just not too long ago, I don't remember which event it was. I want to say it was in February or March, but we never announced this on stream because I didn't really want to be honest. But there was a straight line damaging winds, and someone... Jet Cat, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it. There was a DOA, a tree fell on someone's car, and at the time, I didn't really want to break it on stream with that, because I didn't find it quite appropriate. But I mean, the straight line damaging winds are really dangerous as well. Yeah, SR, hello, first of all, and yes, I think someone did survive drown in a bathtub. I know they did like a reenactment of it in one of the documentaries. Valley Storm Shelters is a leading designer and manufacturer of above-ground shelters. We construct them to withstand 300 mile per hour. Wow. The equivalent of an EF5. I almost got one of those. Not the specific ones, but y'all check out Valley Storm Shelters if you want an above ground shelter. I almost got an above ground shelter for our garage. I think I will at some point. Just to quell my anxiety. Billy LaFrance's wife and daughter survived. They were in a bathtub. Okay. I stand corrected. There was a few people who survived. Warden, I missed your last stream. Yeah, this, I'll be doing this a lot more often. Our cat is orange, like salmon, pinky white, orange. I left a description to it. You should react to the old home videos. Yeah, I will. That's one of the things I'm going to do. I'm just going to start doing reactions, which... people might hate that, but that's okay. That's okay. Omaha, Nebraska tornado of 1913. Oh, and Easter Sunday. What is it about Easter Sundays and tornado outbreaks? I listened to an entire broadcast for the Kentucky Super Outbreak 74, and that was crazy. It was so interesting. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Your tornado docu videos have been outstanding. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate that. Thank you. Gaylord, the people who died at... There were fatalities in Gaylord? I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little mixed up with the recent events. Strangely enough. Yeah, Smithville was a wicked, wicked storm. Same with Phil Campbell. Phil Campbell picked up a sidewalk concrete. The road. It picked up the road. I lived in a mobile home with my dad for some years. He still lives there. Every storm, the wind was like rocking the boat. Oh my gosh, Dylan, I'd imagine so. That would give me storm anxiety too. Have you had tornadoes in your area this year? No. And Yeah, no, Noonan was our big Georgia storm. Southern Georgia had pretty intense tornadoes a couple months ago, as you all know. I want to say Pemberton, Georgia. I'm not super familiar with Georgia, by the way. But nothing in central and northern Georgia. We don't typically get. I mean, we live in such an area where, like, so I used to live in this part of Tennessee right here, which is at the foot of the Appalachians. So that kind of cool air typically stays over northern Georgia, and not always, but a lot of the times, thankfully, we're still in this sort of cool wedge by the time severe weather comes around, just with the timing of the way the events have been recently. First of all, the storms get to us overnight, basically, which, decreases the instability for one. For two, by then it's usually like a linear system at that point by the time it gets to us. And also because we typically stay in this cooler wedge, not always, but typically, it kind of spares us from anything intense, just generally. Yeah, Robert, that's a great point about Gerald. They never really found any of the appliances. That was one of the really creepy things about, if you listen to the officers and EMS talk about that, they're like, we couldn't even find major appliances, or like some people never found their cars. Valley Storm Shelter has a YouTube channel. All right. I like the idea of pushing alerts to smartphones. Yeah. If someone doesn't have the tornado alerts on their smartphone, what are you doing? If none of you in chat have... Oh, Tornado TRX, it's Will's. Howdy! Tornado TRX works with us on Ryan Hall's team and is a really cool editor, by the way. What about a bathtub makes it survivable? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. Have I done one on Phil Campbell? Yes, I have, Carrie. I've done one on the Phil Campbell tornado. That's the only one from the 2011 outbreak that I have done so far. Elgin was struck in 1920. Goodness. Well, Elgin's kind of a hot spot for tornadoes, that area, no? Barbosa, hello. I hope you're doing well. No, Carrie, you're good. It's fine. They all pretty much look like the same thing. I never know what to do with thumbnails and stuff. I'm always kind of bad at those. Which storm shelter offers more protection? Most people think underground are safer, but the truth is both options have proven to be safe. I've actually read that Storm Weather Outlook. I've read that. You know what I've also heard about? Okay, so at first, I'll just tell you guys my rationale. At first, I wanted an underground shelter because to me that always has seemed like the safest. But then I read about fatalities of underground shelters due to flooding. A lot more than I care to have read about. But I read about a lot of flooding, tornado events occurring, and it really creeped me out. And so I decided if I get a shelter, it's going to be an above ground shelter. So thank you for pointing that out, because now I don't feel the need to dig a massive hole in the yard and put in a massive underground shelter in, and I don't know that HOA really wants that to happen anyways. Yeah, thank you, Deborah. I think Topeka is going to be another like close one to do. Yeah, the video that I'm working on now, the script is about tornado myths, and one of the myths is a lot of people have this perception in specific areas. Like a lot of this came from Native American legend that certain areas in the Midwest are protected either by two rivers or mountains, and a lot of people still have that sort of belief, especially like in the Appalachians and other areas where they're like, well, I mean, we live next to a mountain, so blah blah blah, it's not gonna hit, which is not true, and we know that. And Topeka, Kansas, as Deborah is saying, is a great example of that. And also it involves Bill Curtis, which I just talked mad smack about him on my Plainfield video, so I think we should do him a little more service and be a little nicer to him for the good work he's done. So I'll do that soon. Yes, I will do Tuscaloosa at some point. Hiding in a ditch does not protect you from tornado, but from debris. You know how horrifying it would be to have to like get out of your car and get into a ditch. I did do Joplin Kylo Meep. Yes, recently. I think it's like the second or third to most recent video I've done. Which state do I think is the worst tornado state? Well, there's different ways to answer that, Warden. In terms of like frequency, I'd imagine, where do I think? Frequency? God, that's a good question. I don't know. I would say like most violence gotta be Alabama or Oklahoma, but I don't know frequency. I feel like that could go many different ways. Along a corridor extending from Rockford to Elgin. Okay, thank you for telling me that, Dale. Actually, yeah, that sounds... I've heard a lot about Illinois tornadoes being very intense. If you need help with thumbnail concepts, I can throw some pointers. Might be too algorithmically optimized though. Yeah, I think I might end up asking you at some point. At this point, I'm not like super gung-ho about making sure I'm doing the algorithm. Maybe I should. I don't know. I don't know that I'm at that point yet though. I'm just kind of enjoying the process of making the videos and sort of doing it as it comes naturally. That might bite me in the butt later, but we'll see. Thank you for replying to my post in the Plainfield video. I got so angry. Yeah, me too. Y'all should have seen, y'all should have seen the outtakes for the Plainfield video. I really got angry. I mean, I'm not a angry person, but about as angry as I'll get about something, really. My mom's under a tornado warning. She isn't answering my text. I love that woman, but she knows how to give me anxiety. Oh, Brian, I hope she's doing okay. I'm sure she is. Don't worry too much. I'm sure she is. Maybe give her a call when you can. I should do overpass. Yeah, Raymond, I definitely do intend to do some safety videos too. My intention for doing the myths video, which I hope is out in the next week. I'm going on vacation though, so I can't give y'all an exact date, but I will be doing a tornado myths video, and overpass is one that I want to talk about. I know that probably every single person here, because we are weather enthusiasts, I know that everyone here is probably more than familiar with the idea that like overpasses are not safe. But, I mean, on the off chance that some people see it and they're like, oh, actually, I didn't know that. Because in my real life, I've met people who will say, oh, I didn't know that. Then it's worth it. You know what I mean? And education is one of the biggest things I want to accomplish with this channel. So, if I recall, the tornado that killed all those Boy Scouts crossed over a mountain before hitting their camp. Brian, which tornado was that? I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember which tornado it was. Plainfielding, noun, definition, violent tornado, zero shear, but extreme cape. Yeah, that's like Gerald. I think that's one of the reasons why people always compare it to Gerald, is because of the explosive cape and little shear. Pressure damage could probably do a lot of damage to you in a ditch. Oh, I never thought about that. That's an interesting point, Matt. I never thought about that. Texas because of land size. Ooh, Hawkins, good point. Bluette, hello. Love your videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you enjoy them. Dan Robinson survived El Reno in a ditch after getting his vehicle into the money shot. Yeah, he was way too close to that thing. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody really intended to be as close as they were. But yeah, that was, and the way it's described too, like, imagine that you realize that you're too close to a tornado. You're like, okay, I'm too close. And then you literally are running for your life basically, and you're relying on a 4-cylinder engine to get you out of there. How horrifying must that like 30 seconds to a minute be, where you're just like, well, it's you, 4-cylinder buddy, or nothing. Wow. And if I ever did chase, I mean, I would be so paranoid that I would get like a sports car just to make sure that I could like gun it out of there. And I know that's not how that works, but you get the point. Would I include Tom Skilling in the conversation of the Mount Rush? No. 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 I'm sorry to Tom Skilling. No, not in my Mount Rushmore of weather legends. Not mine. But maybe a lot of people's. I'm not saying I don't like Tom Skilling. I'm just, that's a very prestigious spot. You know what I mean? I'm sure Tom Skilling is an incredible chief meteorologist, though. I don't want to make anyone think otherwise. YouTube likes your videos and they aren't super optimized for the algorithm. I think that's the appeal, though. It feels authentic. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'll never want to make my thumbnails better. I'm not against doing that. I think the cutoff point for me with like changing my content to be algorithm based, here's what I will do. I will make content that's at the length which the algorithm likes, which to my understanding is 10 minutes or whatever it is. I can adjust the length because I can always make my hour-long content and I can always add 10-minute content to that, right? Makes sense. I can change my thumbnail because it doesn't affect the content. What I won't change is the contents. So the fact that I've been demonetized is kind of like, well, in my opinion, it is what it is because I'm not going to stop saying the word death because I can't. And I think if I tried to stop saying, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. If I can't say death, tornado, violent, like injury, if I can say none of those things, there's no way I'm ever going to make a video without all those words. I'm a talkative person, and if I start like trying to change around a lot of my vernacular, it's going to come off strange. And at that point I would just like accept it and move on, which is kind of what I'm doing anyways. And that's kind of my cutoff point in terms of changing my content for the algorithm. I don't want to change, my verbiage. I don't want to change the way I explain things because the words aren't good for ads. They're not suitable for ads, whatever. I don't like sheltering in hallways when it comes to tornadoes because they can serve as wind tunnels. Oh my god. How many of y'all through school, I guess they still do this, but like maybe this is why I have storm anxiety, because in school they make you get in the hall and like everyone's just facing the wall and you're like, this in school? And everyone's just like, you're like 7 years old and you're just like, this in the hall. And you know what's interesting about that? The Joplin emergency manager did this incredible presentation. If y'all want to watch anything on Joplin, watch the emergency manager. I forget their name. Watch the emergency manager's presentation after the Joplin event. But you know what they said? This and more. They said, after looking at the schools and the way that the vending machines and certain objects flew through the hallways during a tornado, they said, I would never ever advocate for students to shelter in the hallway again. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on those things, but that kind of stuck with me. Yeah, Gary England would be up there. Obviously James Spann would be in the middle, head shining in the middle, James Spann, and then Gary England would certainly be up there. Mike Moore would be up there for me. I don't care if y'all don't like Mike Moore. I like Mike Moore. I think Mike Moore is eccentric, and I think he's like a little out there. But I really enjoy him. And also Mike Moore is obsessed with his wife, and I think that's part of the reason why I like him as well. If y'all look on Twitter, if you follow Mike Moore on Twitter, he is obsessed with his wife, and I think it's kind of cute, so that probably sways my opinion as well. Algorithm loves long content, but you have to be able to hold views and attention that long, and screw the demonetization for that. I'm not fully demonetized, but at the same time, every time I post a video, I am not suitable for ads. So I'm at the point where I'm about to just turn off my I'm about to just turn off the ads, because I don't want people to watch ads if they're just going to come back and say your content's not suitable every time. So I'm about to just stop trying. Do you ever plan on making videos on tornadoes that happen in Europe? Yes, for sure. I'll do one on tornadoes in South America and then one on Europe. And I've already done one on Asia. If you haven't watched it, I personally really like that one. And maybe one for Inner Mongolia in itself, because they have a lot of really interesting events. Personally, I think it says a lot about the quality of your content when the channel keeps growing despite the algorithm. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm doing this because it's fun for me, and it's, it's a project. It's something I feel proud of. I don't know. YouTube is kind of goofy nowadays anyways. I know people still make money on YouTube, but it's getting significantly harder. And I don't know. I feel like, I don't know how you guys operate, but for me, the second I start doing things because I feel like I have to, if I start trying to make content because I feel like I need to make a certain monthly quota for myself on YouTube and get monetized, I feel like that's the second it's going to start feeling like a job for me. And that's probably the second I would be like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. That's how I work. This is a passion project for me, and it's something I intend to continue to do as I go through a master's program, and this will be something that I incorporate together with a graduate program. So I want to keep it that way. Hawkins, I love that presentation. It's a good presentation. Barnveld F5. I'm not familiar with Barnveld at all, but I can certainly look into it. Yeah, how do y'all feel about hallway sheltering? Kind of weird. Being chased by a vending machine would suck. Yep. Enterprise tornado, 7 or 8 kids were killed at the high school when a part of a wall fell on them. Yeah, I don't know what the alternative is. Perhaps closets. Head shining, yeah. James Span's in the middle. Like this. We love James Span. Yeah, I don't know what would the alternative be to not sheltering in the hallway. I'd imagine it's closets. But, it's a big problem that needs to be figured out on a school by school basis, of course. Every school is built different. Tim Samaras is certainly up there. Yep. Man, the amount of scientific contribution Tim Samaras has done is incredible. We need to see the suspenders. Yeah, it'll be like head and shoulders, because without the suspenders and the whole get up, then yeah. Do you mean Mike Moore of K4? Yes, Laura. Mike Moore, K4. That's exactly who I mean. He loves his wife, and I just think he's kind of sassy and a little funny, and I like that. Yeah, the algorithm rules are interesting. I think I've won one of the appeals, maybe 2, where you can ask for a manual review and they'll, tell you yes or no. I've won one of them before, which is exciting, I guess. How did Ryan change his lights when there's a tornado? It's a button. I don't know what the button looks like, but it's a button. I think he has not a switchboard. What's it called? A stream deck? I don't know. Let me not say that. I don't know. I don't know. You're a very skilled researcher. Well, thank you. I did a lot of research for undergrad, and I just genuinely enjoy reading interesting things. That's why I read the lawsuit for the Plainfield tornado. I found it to be pretty interesting. Corporate tube. We're not calling it YouTube, it's corporate tube. My skilling question was just to see if you felt the same way I did. Yeah, no, Chris, it's a good question. I don't dislike Tom. I don't dislike skilling. I just, there's other people that I like more. I know for sure, Tornado TR Wills, I know that like there are certain videos that I completely understand why it was demonetized. Not demonetized, but just like not suitable for ad content. And it's because of like, let's say for example, Gerald, where I described certain things that probably are not suitable. Sorry. And then also like more 99. I understand that also. But some of them are just like, just educational and outside of me saying like death or violence, violent tornado or things like that, I'm not gonna bleep out those words. I know a lot of crime documentary channels would be like, and a body or, whatever, it's like bleeped out. I don't know. I would feel weird doing that. I don't think I would enjoy doing that very much. Hallway sheltering does beat no sheltering, Laurel. That's a great point. It does. It's a good point. I think bathrooms and stuff, I don't know how they do now for kids. I don't have a child, but I hope when I have a child, they do some kind of like bathroom or more enclosed area. The hallway just seems a little more open, but you're right. It is better than nothing. In a library? Yeah. I guess it depends on a school by school basis, just what they're structurally works best for them. G. Scott, not a fan of hall sheltering, tough call word. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really just comes down to a case by case basis, and hopefully, whoever makes the decision, whether it be the administrators or superintendent, whoever, they're just aware of what the best area is, and there, some cases where it's just there's nothing you can do. Like there are plenty of events we talk about, like the Moors, and even Plainfield was an F5. I mean, there are just some violent tornadoes that it doesn't really matter what you do aside from being like in an underground shelter. Some of them are just not really survivable above ground, and it's really tragic, but that's the truth. Yeah, the suspenders coming off is like, okay. Everyone starts sweating a little bit. Do you agree with everything Mike Morgan has said over the years? I don't like him pre-rating tornadoes on air because, Raymond, no, I don't like everything Mike Morgan says. Mike Morgan is no stranger to controversy. Even recently on Twitter, I don't remember which specific event it was, but it was recent where Mike Morgan was calling a day a high-risk day. He was calling, like, one of the most recent events that's happened that was a moderate risk, I think. He was calling it a high-risk day, I think, and it was not a high-risk day. There's certain things that he will say like that people don't like. And me liking Mike Morgan generally doesn't mean I don't agree with everything he says. He's also been in a lot of controversy. This is something that Gary England has said. This is something Mike Morgan has said. But with the Moore tornadoes, there's been multiple times where he said on air, get in your car and get out of the way because you will not survive this above ground. And that was a huge controversy with the 2013 Moore tornado with Mike Morgan. People did not like that he said that. And I think there's been times where the way Mike Morgan has responded to criticism has been less than ideal. So no, there's certainly things Mike Morgan has done that people have not liked and I have not agreed with all the time, but overarching theme for me and Mike Morgan is that he does a lot more good than he's done like annoying stuff. Do I watch a lot of tornado based movies, and if so, do you have a favorite one? Cameron, that's a good question. I don't know that I've watched like specifically a tornado movie outside of Twister. I'm always down to watch a tornado movie. It might make me a little nervous. I've always wondered how the 2011 outbreak would have looked and sounded if Gary England had been on ABC 3340 instead of James Band. That's a good question. Or that's a good thought. One of my schools, we were sent into a locker room. Interesting, Melissa. Hopefully it was, I mean, I think you turned out okay, but I guess it just depends on the school. Well, I know for sure like more was because I showed video where people were like injured, and I get that. That's fine. I'm not like, I don't anticipate that every video is going to be monetized, but there are some videos that they do this thing now with YouTube with my most recent video where it's like a you fill out basically a self checklist of like, is your content suitable for advertisers? And I did this with the last video, and I was like, I read every word multiple times, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure out why my content's not suitable for ads. And I genuinely couldn't figure it out because they say nothing about like trigger words like death or violent or whatever. And in a lot of my videos I don't show any injury, or obviously I don't show death or anything, but like more I did, and I fully understand that that's never going to be monetized, and I don't really care about that. Same with Gerald. I talk about graphic stuff. I don't really care if that's monetized, but whatever. We'll see moving forward. I think what I would do, and this is something I'll talk to y'all about more in the future as well, if it comes at a point where I'm starting to make full-time content, which is what I fully intend to do when I get back from the beach next week, where I'm doing content more frequently and I'm doing a lot more live streams and I'm investing a lot of my time, I will probably make an option where I either have a Patreon or a membership. And the thing with this is I hate like even mentioning memberships. It wouldn't be any extra content. Like I don't want to leave anyone out. I don't want to make videos for people who pay. Like that's never what I would want to do. It would simply be an option for people if they wanted to support the channel. And that's it. Or potentially just keep my Twitch stream, and then like if people want to sub on Twitch they can, but it's never, you can always watch for free. Do you know what I mean? It's just a way to support. And truthfully, even if I didn't do any of that, I would still make the content simply because I enjoy it, again, and I'm not doing it because I'm trying to make money. Like I don't need to do that. I will just make the content because I enjoy it. But I think in the future, should I really continue to do it full time, I'll probably just turn off all the ads for YouTube altogether, and then just have a membership option or Patreon just for support if someone wanted to. And it would never be like, you have to pay to get content, if that makes sense. 13 minutes. I can probably find it on the internet somewheres. Is it possible Mike Morgan's at high risk by mistake? I don't think so. That's a good question. I don't think so, because it was on Twitter and it was like, it was a moderate risk day, and Mike Morgan kept saying, this looks like a high risk day. This looks like a high risk day. And I think he was just trying to convey the severity of the risk. So I think his intention was good, but I think it rubs people the wrong way at times. Hello, German friend. One thing I like about Mike Morgan is he interacts with fans. I've gotten multiple super fast replies from him versus a comment that took a while. That's cool. I've never tried like talking to him, but I will now. It would be hilarious if you do reviews of tornado movies and critique the accuracy. That's a great idea. Maybe we'll do that on Twitch. I think I'll do like reaction content on Twitch, and then if it's funny, which it probably won't be, but if it's funny, I'll upload it to YouTube. But we can just, I want to do just like once a week, we can watch a documentary or perhaps a video about weather and tornadoes, and we can just have a good time. I feel like it's gotta be here. Hey? Oh, why do I keep calling him Mike Moore? And none of y'all corrected me? No. Mike Morgan. I know I did not sit here and say Mike Moore for 30 minutes and y'all didn't say anything. You're all fake weather fans. I'm a fake Mike Morgan fan. That's really funny. I've done this before too. I've called him Mike Moore probably more times than I really should have. Does Mike Bettis still work for Cape? I don't know, actually. I feel like I haven't heard anything from Mike Bettis in a long time, and I'm sure he still probably does many things, but I don't think that I follow his Twitter, even if he has one. You've been putting Mike Morgan, Miranda, and I've just been saying Mike Moore this entire time. All right, it's me who's fake. I'm the fake. I am the fakest Mike Morgan fan that ever existed. Oh, that's funny. By the way, what is a QLCS tornado? It's a quasi-linear convective system tornado. They are typically like what you would consider the smaller spin-up tornadoes that are embedded supercells within a line of storms. They're often associated with those spin-up tornadoes and not typically when you see that discrete supercell that really eats up all the energy and becomes a big violent tornado. They're often like those more quick spin-up types, but they can, I mean, QLCS tornadoes can produce like EF3 damage. So, we get them in the Georgia area a lot when we have the linear systems that come through, or when we have hurricanes that kind of come up. We usually have a higher risk of like QLCS tornadoes. That's really the only time we have bigger tornado threats here in central Georgia, in my experience so far. Is like this past hurricane season, we had a lot of 10% tornado days from the QLCS, just from like the hurricanes and the bands that come through, those spin up ones. They still freak me out though. Y'all have been, okay, it's me. I called y'all out for being fake, and it was only me because I kept saying Mike Morgan. But look here, this person here, look, based off my Twitter feed and Mike Morgan, day one high risk everywhere. This is in 2016. Oh no, it says Mike Morgan. Okay, let me just stop talking. It's really not. See, okay, here, look, it's even a discussion. Wow, 2019 was there an enhanced risk over Georgia? Mike Morgan has done that multiple times in Oklahoma. I'm not saying it's good or bad, just not something. I know I've seen him issue his own high risk. See, and people don't like, that's what I'm saying. People don't like when he does that. I'm not a fan of it. And it happened, I don't know if I can find it specifically, but like this happened fairly recently where it was a moderate risk day and he was fully out here saying it was going to be a high risk day, and people were like, what? I don't know. I swear it exists somewhere. Maybe deleted it. I know I'm not making it up though. Believe me. I'm the biggest Mike Morgan fan, so much so that I called him Mike Moore. Do I watch any of David's? No. There are plenty of other like weather content creators that I really like, and Nate is one of them. I think if anyone, y'all probably also follow Nate. Here's one of my two, okay, outside of Ryan and Nate, my two favorite channels, and I really recommend y'all follow these ones if you're interested in like more weather content. Pal Ponder on Weather, I think his name is Ray. I love his content. I love his enthusiasm. He's just really passionate about weather. I love like the energy that he brings, and it's really good just information. I'm pretty sure he's been doing this for a long time. So yeah, if you want more weather content, Pal Ponder on Weather. And the second one is Mitch West, who lives in South Carolina. I am a big fan of Mitch West, and Mitch is kind of not really just getting started. I think he's been doing this for a year or two, but like I've been watching his channel take off, and I'm so happy because Mitch is the kindest, like the most genuine person on weather Twitter that I've ever talked to. By far, Mitch is the most genuine person. You can just feel how passionate he is about weather, and just so sincere and really kind. Like, Mitch West is where it's at for sure. Those two are like my go-tos outside of the regulars. And then Nate's really good too for live coverage. I've watched Nate for, I don't know, a year or so. There was an outbreak in Germany in 2007, produced 3 almost F4. Good to know. Oh, they were QLCS tornadoes. Yeah, they do a lot of damage as well. You watch David? Yeah, I mean, if y'all watch David, that's fine. David can get himself in controversy sometimes. That's fine. Anyone can watch, I mean, whatever weather content they enjoy. I personally don't, because he's pretty horrible to another weather channel, but I loved him at one point. Yeah, I have watched his stuff before. I mean, y'all are able to watch it if you want. Yeah. Nate's good too. Wasn't it a high risk day though? And though it was deserved. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost in the sauce here. I don't know where, I can't keep up. Sorry if I'm breathing in the mic. Oh my god. Sorry. Okay, some of y'all are already subbed to Mitch West. It's good stuff. I wonder how Ryan shares his radar on livestream. Maybe he does OBS, kind of like how I do. I feel like he does OBS. It's really customizable, but I don't know. I don't know a lot about the tech that Ryan does. I know it's a lot. I know his room is like 200 degrees while he streams in there. So I know that. That's it. North Texas Weather Center. Oh, max velocity? Okay. Laurel, I remember that too. People were talking about the event, the December event. That I don't know how everyone else feels. Let me know how you felt going into the December event. Like how you, I don't know how to explain this. And I always like to be able to put a reason for my feelings with these weather events. I like to be able to narrow it down. But here's how I felt before the December event. I've seen plenty of moderate risk days, and typically they don't make me that nervous. Like even just, 2 days ago or whatever, we had a moderate risk day. We've had plenty of moderate risk days. That one felt weird the day of and going into it, and I can't explain why, and I hate that I can't give a concise explanation for that. I like to be able to rationalize how I'm feeling in that way, and for whatever reason going into that December event, I woke up that morning and it was like I can't remember if it was I woke up to a moderate risk or they upgraded it throughout the day, but it was just that one felt weird, and I feel like a lot of people felt the same way. Y'all can let me know. Yeah. Keith, I think you should forgive Mike Morgan for upgrades on his own. Just checking how April 27th affected James Spann. Anything that increases awareness. Oh yeah, I do really like Mike Morgan. I can kind of see both sides of that, because I don't personally mind. Like, I don't live in the area, and I also, even if my local weatherman gave out his own personal high risk, I would probably feel, grateful that my local weatherman took the time to be like, look, I really think you guys should be mega aware today. I think this is a high risk type of day. I would respect that, and I do respect that about Mike Morgan, because Mike Morgan has decades of experience. So if I lived in Mike Morgan's viewing area and he told me he thought it was going to be a high risk day, I would be like, all right, if Mike Morgan says it's a high risk day, I feel like he knows this area geographically pretty well, and he knows these events well. So I do agree with you there, but I also can kind of understand how people don't like that in some ways. But overall, I do like Mike Morgan. I really do. He's one of my favorite weather people. Nate low-key copies Ryan's thumbnails. Bro, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to like do, I'm so detached from any of that. Like, I would be the last person to talk to about that, because I would be like, you know what? I don't even know. And maybe that's not exciting. I wish I could give y'all some tea, but truthfully, there is no tea, because I think they're both great. It's so strange to think of the term drama and controversy in the weather YouTube community. I thought the same thing. Let me tell y'all, when I first got a weather Twitter, I guess about a year ago, and I just kind of lurked on weather Twitter for a long time, I was like, how are we talking about weather and there's so much drama? And I still feel that way. And I even got myself involved, like somehow I ended up being involved in it too. And it's just like so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And I oftentimes really don't, truthfully, I really don't even want to have a Twitter, because I find it so petulant at times that I don't even want to be involved. But I also recognize that it's like an important social media for me to have for the job that I currently do with Ryan. But I'm just telling y'all, if you ever see my Twitter gone, I just got tired of it, and that's it. That's it. Sometimes I really wake up and I'm like, why do I even have this? About Mike Morgan and the high risk thing, he must have had a good reason to expect an upgrade. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. I like Mike Morgan. You know what? Mike Morgan can do what he wants, and I would probably be like, all right. I was super nervous, and I was coming home that was underway from an outpatient procedure, and I had a bad feeling about that day. Yeah, Miranda, I think a lot of people did. I talked to a couple people and was reading some of the Discord servers and stuff, and I think a lot of people had a very strange feeling about that day. My friend Big Al thought also, but nobody else. Well, your friend has good intuition. I lived by Monet during the event, and all news stations called it a city near and ignored the damaged nursing home. I don't know, just kind of felt disrespectful for those. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I remember reading about the nursing home, and the whole thing was just horrifying to watch unfold live. And in a lot of ways, I'm almost kind of glad I wasn't working for him at the time, because I don't know, there's certain times where like we start to get news in, and it almost like breaks me a little. I mean, it's hard, you know. It's hard to hear that kind of stuff. Weather Twitter is so stressful. I know, Hawkins. I don't know how to deal with it sometimes. It is twatter. How is Ginger Cat? Blaze is good. He's not in here. He's probably sleeping in the other room, but he's good. Yeah, WX Twitter is like, oh God, I'm not touching Facebook, Dale. I can't. That's just one. WX Twitter is already a little too much, but Facebook is not for me. That's okay. If I didn't do this stuff with Ryan, I don't think I would still have a Twitter. It's good exposure for my YouTube, and it's good. Like, there are a lot of friends I've made on Twitter. Like, I've talked to people. I mean, I've talked to Reed Timmer, which is worth it in itself, I guess, on Twitter. But at the same time, it's just really stressful. And I remember like one stream where, it was so disappointing. One stream, I don't know if you guys were like aware of it happening, but maybe 2 months ago, something happened where someone basically made a post calling out, I guess our community, and one person who I used to really look up to, like a kind of a bigger name in the weather community, who I looked up to they kind of started dogpiling on me, like on Twitter. And I was like, what? And it was so kind of jarring. And like I was getting, and this is such a first world problem, but I was getting so much hate, and people were like literally calling me a piece of trash, and like, you know, for nothing, just like existing on Twitter. And that these were like grown people too. We're talking about grown people. So to me, I was like, what? This is so gross, you know? It's so gross to me, and I don't like it, and I still kind of regret that I like ever reactivated my Twitter. I deactivated it for like 2 weeks after that happened, because it was so upsetting for me that people that I had looked up to in the weather community, and then like having a Twitter, all of a sudden I realized that these are people who were like really kind of vile and nasty for what? Like, we're talking about weather, dog. You know what I mean? I feel like Oklahoma is so well taken care of, News 9, and forewarn everyone's always prepared. Yeah, I agree. They are really, and they should be. They certainly have to go through it a lot more than most of us do. Yeah, strong tornadoes in Europe are a lot more of an anomaly, and so sadly, anytime even like weaker tornadoes happen, they catch people off guard, and a lot more injuries are probably able to happen, fatalities. Facebook is a cesspool. Yes, it is. It is. I believe you. Oh, I hear Blaze. Hi, boys. He'll come say hello. Come here. Unproblematic queen. No, I just think it's kind of goofy. Like, why are we grown people arguing about weather on Twitter? It's kind of strange. And I'm not like saying I'm above being petty. I'm not, because if someone attacks me, I'm probably gonna have something smart back to say at times. But at the same time, I'm just saying, if I ever don't have a Twitter anymore, I just probably decided it wasn't worth it anymore. But Blaze wants to say hello. Come here. Would you like to say hi? What do you have to say? Not much. Look at him, he's an old boy. Chunky boy. I think he just woke up from a nap. He looks pretty groggy. Here you go. You can hang out on the desk. Blaze is sitting next to us. Chicago area TV coverage isn't great. Yeah, I think a lot of areas, like some areas almost have like an abundance of coverage and radar coverage and news, radio coverage, and then some areas are just like sadly nothing. Yeah, I think some of the hate that's kind of thrown around in like the WX Twitter space is really strange, and it comes off really strange too as jealousy, and I don't know, it's a weird thing to kind of watch unfold. I don't understand it. I mean, people in the science community, especially with like weather or photography or just enjoying like Earth and its beauty and taking videos of like storms and clouds, you would think that that would be a really united community where people are just outside together enjoying science. And I do think that that's largely probably a good portion of the weather community, like in real life, but for some reason on Twitter it just gets really distorted and jealous, and people are like mad about weird stuff. He's tired because he's an old man. Yeah, I think he just got up from a nap. Photo Storm Media. I use Facebook only for having some exposure for the work I do. Yes, I don't really participate in things other than that. And that's a smart way to go about it. I think sometimes, unfortunately, like even if people don't want to have social media, it's kind of an instance where it's a double-edged sword in the aspect that it helps you grow your community or your business or, you know, your channels. But then you also are exposed to like really goofy stuff at the same time. What? Give them a reading of their life. Read them for filth. Matthew says, Carly, I really enjoy you and the team on Ryan's channel. Thank you. It's fun to be on the channel. Everyone there is really cool, and behind the scenes is really fun, and everyone's super kind and just enjoys being part of the process. Like, it's a very unified, cohesive part of the community. Everyone genuinely enjoys like hanging out and working together. Even after we finish the streams, we literally always talk for at least an hour after the streams, just in Discord, because we just enjoy it. Night of the Twisters. We can watch that movie together, maybe. Maybe that's what we'll do. Into the Storm. We'll do some analysis. What will happen if 2 tornadoes combine together? I don't know. I'd like to see it in an open field. Is there super chat here to support the channel? You don't have to super chat. I don't even know if I have that as an option, but y'all don't feel like you have to super chat. I don't even know that I have that on. But I appreciate the kindness though. A lot of non-monetization occurs if you have less than 20,000 subscribers. So once you hit that benchmark, things might get better. Trace, I hope so. I hope that that's true. And maybe one day we'll hit 20K and then they'll start liking my content. Yeah, it's like just with the videos, I think I think my verbiage is not up just to par. Something I see on WX Twitter a lot is people dogpiling. Yeah. And one thing I try to consider about WX Twitter is that a lot of it is underage weather fans. I think a large part of WX Twitter is younger people, even like teenagers or like really young kids who are on WX Twitter. And I am cognizant of the fact that there are a lot of younger people, and so I don't like any actually goofy stuff that happens on there. I don't really pay any mind to, but some of the stuff that I see as like adult people tearing others down is very strange to me. But again, I guess that's just part of being on the internet, and I think I'm getting better at just kind of overlooking it. So if there's a silver lining, it's that I'm getting better at handling it, I guess. Do I have a public Discord server? No, I don't know. First of all, I feel like I don't know that many people are interested. Second of all, if you do have a Discord and you want to find me, you can find me in Ryan's server, the Storm Seekers, if y'all want. But I also have seen how strange Discord can be as well, and I don't know that I want to facilitate my own space of like people being weird, if that makes sense. Yeah, surprisingly, the weather community is not sunshine and rainbows. There's no superheat. I think you mean super chat, but I like superheat better. I don't think there is either. I think you might have to set it up, but I don't have it set up, I don't believe. But I don't want y'all spending money on me anyways. I'm 15, but I don't use Twitter. Good. You're starting out great. Just ignore internet shenanigans. Yeah. Do I think teenagers should have access to weather models or sounding charts? I don't think it's a good idea because they like to cherry pick. Good question. I like that they have them because Raymond has all the good questions, by the way. I like that young people have them because they're able to learn. And let me tell y'all, they're some of the smartest teenagers out there. SP is someone who's in Ryan's community that does weather briefings, who's like, I'm fairly certain they're a teenager. So smart. A lot of these younger kids and teenagers are just wonderfully intelligent, and I like that they're able to learn a very complex science at a young age. But yeah, they do tend to overhype stuff, but I think that's one of the things I try to ignore and just I mean, I'm not going to get my data from a 15-year-old. You can bet. You can bet I'm going to listen to my local meteorologist and the SPC, but it's a good question. March 13, 1990, Heston, Kansas, 2 F5s emerged. What? Y'all can tell I've already watched a lot of these. Oh, Nate's live. Cool. How long have we been live for? Let's do a little stream inception here. Does it tell me on OBS? Maybe. 3 hours. Y'all have been live for 3 hours. I'm a teenager and I try to update people on Twitter most of the time. Yeah, Nicholas, I think that's really cool. I think it's cool. I have no problem with teenagers having access to models. Like I said, there's a lot of really intelligent younger folk on Twitter, and I am ever impressed by the amount of young people who are in such a complex science. Couldn't be me. And I think it's neat. I just don't take my actual advice from them, which is fine. Some people take teenagers to heart and they can spam his inbox with chats for actual data. That's true, Raymond. What's the difference between F5 and EF5? F5 is the old Fujita scale, the original Fujita scale. And then the enhanced Fujita scale was implemented in 2007. Greensburg, Kansas was the first to be rated on the EF5, the enhanced Fujita scale. It's just like an updated version of the original, with a lot more basis for damage. They made it more complex to where they were able to a little bit more accurately rate the tornadoes. There's still no real incredibly accurate way to rate tornadoes. It's only based on damage because we don't have a better way to rate them at this point, just with the lack of understanding of the intricacies of tornadoes. Yeah, I've heard people say that. I've heard people say they like the F scale more. I don't know either way. I don't really care either way. I'm going to start college in the fall for meteorology. Congratulations, Cassidy. That's so exciting. I bet you're tickled. I'm really happy for you. That's a lot of math and science. I respect you a lot for that. That's really cool. I did all mine in humanities. I respect that a lot. May 8th, 1999 was an outbreak in Cuba that an F4 produced. Man, I'm going to be such an expert on these events by the time I get done with this channel. In a couple years, there's not a single tornado I won't know. What? You've piqued my interest. Yes! You can always count on the National Weather Service to have some kind of really cool, in-depth, retrospective study. Never fails. What is that noise? I feel like I hear something. Yeah, I'm about to end it too, y'all. I think it's been 3 hours. And I'm not used to talking for 3 hours. I am interested in the Cuba myth, though. I'm going to read about it. I just downloaded the thing. I'm going to read it when I'm done here. Ollie, thank you so much for joining. You're not going to miss much because I'm about to go too, but... Tornado Archive. Yeah, y'all, if you ever wanted, I'm sure you guys know this again since you're all weather enthusiasts, but Tornado Archive is really where it's at. I'll just die when they release, like, imagine that they have it globally. Imagine they have the archives globally. If they have it for like China and Asia, I'm gonna be so excited. Oh, Atlantic. Hello. Yeah, everyone keeps talking about Parkersburg EF5. I gotta watch it. I think what we'll do, y'all, is start streaming like tornado videos on Twitch. And if y'all like that, that's what we'll do. Maybe older documentaries or something like that. Tri-state tornado path is updated and way more accurate than before. I will look at that. Gotta bounce anyway. Dale, thank you so much. Catch you on the flip side. Thank you for coming out. They do have it globally. Do they have it in China? Do they have it in China? I know they had it for like South America, maybe. What's the last I saw? Was like the last big update I saw. Do I have to, okay, God, I'm excited. Parkersburg. Okay, how about we react to Parkersburg next time I stream? Does that sound fun to everybody? We'll do like a live info session. Parkersburg. Good morning. Okay, the continent filter. Everyone's like, listen, Carly, we've been new about this. You are real. No. No. Really? Really? No. 1999? Are you kidding me? No. Really? Really? This is fascinating. What? How? Okay. No, there's no way. (2018). All right, let's go to Europe. Has there ever been EF5 in Europe? Let's just take out the EF0 because that's kind of lame. Really? Really? France in 1845. You know what? I read about the oh god, the Sicily tornadoes that went on shore. But it was like the 18, it might have been before this archive. Wow, okay. Moscow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Alaska, hello? We'll do F3 too because that's kind of... Actually, you know what? We'll just turn them all on because I didn't even know that tornadoes happened in South Africa. Maybe that's ignorant of me, but I genuinely didn't know. Maybe y'all did. Yeah, it's what... Bangladesh is one we're going to talk about, the deadliest tornado in history. This has got to be it. Oh my god. Would you look at that? 96. 1996. 700 fatalities. And y'all know that's an estimation. 32,000 injuries. And look at how long. Are you kidding me? Look at the length of that. And then look at the path that it took. Germany 1800. One of the videos I want to do is looking at tornadoes in like recorded history in not legend. I don't want to say legend, but I want to look at like medieval tornadoes and how they were depicted throughout history. I'm really interested in knowing how different civilizations throughout periods of history understood and believed tornadoes, like what they believed. If tornadoes were like divine retribution, kind of going off on a tangent, but that's something I'm really interested in. That's just wicked. Wow. Wow. Okay. There's no way that China doesn't have more tornadoes in recorded. I mean, okay, that's not right. That can't be right, because look at Japan and then look at China, and we know that China, like even just Jiangsu province, I know for a fact there's more than that. Wuhan, I know for a fact there's more than that. I don't know if that's due to a lack of surveys being done in China. I don't know if they just aren't surveying these tornadoes, or if they haven't got all the stuff up to date here yet. It's got to be because they're not surveying them, because if they have China and Bangladesh and all these other, Heilongjiang here, there's more here. These are the provinces, to my understanding, like the video that I've done, the research that I did, these are the provinces, Hebei and even Beijing area, Jiangsu, even down here in Hubei province. Czech Republic has some large tornadoes. Dang. Yeah, Guangzhou just got hit. That was the one we looked at earlier. That's down here. That's what I was talking about. This is southern China. Hong Kong's down there. Macau is right over here. But most of them occur right here because there's mountains. It's a mountainous region over here. And then we've got a area of flat landscape over here. Check the F5 in Canada. Certainly, pal. Is this it? Near Winnipeg? Wow. That's a goofy looking. No fatalities. F5 in 2007. Very interesting. You had, yeah, I did hide the two of them. But I know for a fact that China's had more violent tornadoes than this. There's no way. I mean, I guess they're just not accurately surveyed. Because look at that. Okay, but you can see the clusters here, right? You see that the Jiangsu province is a lot more clustered up here. We're just assuming that these are not surveyed correctly, okay? So, no tornadoes. But we see the clusters down here. Guangzhou, and then Fujian, actually kind of impressive. And then up here. And then like inner China has nothing, because I think it's too mountainous. Yeah, Germany's... Germany, what are you doing? Okay, wait, what? What? Ellie tornado? Can you help me out? Got a new follower, you're a real one. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of EFU. It's got to be it. Why do they not survey them, though? They need to start surveying them. I mean, there's been plenty of wild tornadoes, but even just seeing the one last night, and Also, in the video that I did on China, a lot of typhoons go through here and cause QLCS tornadoes in the Guangdong province. Guangxi was another one that got a ton of like those QLCS type tornadoes. And I know for a fact Korea has had at least one decent sized tornado go through it because I read about it not too long ago. So apparently South Korea is also not surveying their tornadoes. To be fair, they certainly don't get enough tornadoes to survey them, but they have had them before. I wish they would. Oh, I see what y'all are saying. Eli. Or is that what y'all are talking about? The Manitoba tornado? I'm sorry, I think the chat's like a little behind for... the one west of Winnipeg. Literally did a circle. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. Australia's supposedly second highest. Well, check this out though, y'all. Off the coast of the Western Sahara, look at this. Look at these little tornadoes. They're just little dots, like maybe, I don't know, that's interesting. Morocco? I'm sorry, y'all were trying to tell me that and I was like, what? Please go to the F5 in Germany. I'm so sorry. I'm like making all motion sick. I'm like, and over here, and over here, and here, and here. All right, let me calm down. This is a lot of information at one time. Let me just stop being excited. Well, it looks like there's more than one. Okay, so here's one. It's an F5 in 1800 with 5 injuries. Interesting. Okay, there's one, and that is in eastern Germany, and then we're gonna come up here to northeastern Germany, and this one, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that because I will mess it up. 1764. 1 fatality. Do y'all think that's accurate? Or do you think that maybe genuinely a lot of people just didn't live in this area? That's a long track though. That's quite the long track. Oh, Southern Ontario, larger outbreak. 1944 had a weird outbreak in a location you didn't expect. You don't expect. Oh, where is it? High-end EF5. High-end F5. Wow. Strongest ever happened. Goodness. Paris in the late 19th century. I want to say that this goes back to what, 18... They say it here. 1700. Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to look at Paris. We have one in south of Paris. And it's an F5 in the 19th century. 1845. Let's go to F4. Got a couple. That's interesting. Oh, no, okay. Okay, we're playing games now. Okay, I like this game. Let's go. I mean, this strikes me as odd. What an odd series of marks. F4. F4. Wow, that's strange. Like furiously clicking over here. Wow. And look at how like uniform the distances are between these as well, and like the paths. Those are very strange. I'm just assuming that this is what you're talking about. Yeah, Blue-Eyed, it might not have been there. Look at 2011. Roger that. This is 2011. That's what it feels like, huh? I think this is actually what I was talking about with someone, the outbreak before the super outbreak, the April 16th area. I think those were pretty intense tornadoes. Neal, Alabama, Morgan County. It doesn't show counties. I'm not... Oh. It shows cities. You'll have to let me know what area it's in. Morgan County. I can look it up. Let's see. I do this all the time for work. Oh, it's just, okay, it's like northern. Just southwest. Okay. Where is it? I mean, if this isn't it, it's like just southwest of Huntsville. It's got to be a smaller town. I mean, it's got to be this one, huh? Argentina. Okay, 1 second. We actually didn't look at South America at all. (1973). Actually, I kind of just want to look at like all of Argentina. Wow. What is this purple dot? An F5 in 1973. I knew it looked a little suspicious. Wow. Right in the middle too. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I think geographically, like, this is another area where we've got a mountainous region, and then you've got, I don't know if this area is flat. I think it is, but I know that this is obviously a more tornado prone area. Very cool. Y'all, I'm about to go before my throat closes up. I've been talking too much. I'm not used to this. I can't do these like 10 hours. But you can bet I'll be checking this out for another hour. Yeah, I will certainly do on, it's kind of like a lot of people have called it the forgotten outbreak, the outbreak before the main outbreak. So I will do a video on that. I have had multiple people ask, and I would also like to do that. What's my streaming schedule on Twitch? Twitch is one that I don't have a schedule for. I used to just always stream with my sister. However, like I said, I'm going on vacation starting tomorrow. That's why I switched the stream to today. And starting tomorrow, I will be gone for a week. I'll still probably be active on Twitter and stuff, but I'll not be posting a video for another week at least. But I am working on a lot of scripts. I will continue to work on the scripts. So here's the plan is that I get back on the 27th, and I will likely do another live stream just to immediately have like a conversation with y'all. And then I'll be filming, editing, and posting videos at least once a week. I'll probably do a stream once a week as well, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch. So I'll give y'all a finalized hello. Sorry if you just came in, I'm about to end. But yeah, I'll do at least a video a week and a live stream a week on Twitch or YouTube. I'm not sure. I'll give you guys a finalized version later, but if you are a Twitch user and you like Twitch, you can follow me there if you want. And what I'm going to start doing on Twitch is just reacting to tornado videos or just watching something with y'all that's weather related and kind of reacting, and we can talk about it. Have a good old yeehaw. So yeah, that'll be starting next week after the 26th, so 10 days ish. So weather mamas. Yep, I'll be going to the beach. It's been a really fun stream, and I'm looking forward to having a little break, a little vacay. So I really appreciate you guys coming out. I had a lot of fun today. I had a lot to say, and I'm so happy you guys hopefully enjoyed it. Maybe you hated it. I don't know. But I'll be back with a lot more content, some shorter content, of course, my longer documentaries as well. So look forward to a lot of good stuff coming very soon, and a lot more streams like this one. So, and Miranda, thank you so much, Miranda, for being the most wonderful mod ever, and also like my only mod. So thank you, Miranda, for being the one and only mod. I appreciate you. You want to do the most obvious bit? Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I will see you guys very soon. You can follow me on Twitter if you want like more, I don't know, like daily updates. Not really, but if you have Twitter, you want to follow me, you're welcome to. That's where I update stuff the most frequently, and then Twitch like once a week. So anyway, I'll see y'all in about a week. Maybe I'll be really burnt when I come back, but yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. Yeah, I'll be just absolutely covered head to toe with sunscreen. But bye guys, have a good night. I'll see you soon.